Roll.
Chair, alternate Commissioner Salmieri.
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Guyton.
Okay, we're going to call
Commissioner
the
Ma.
meeting of the Planning and
Commissioner
Zoning
Caird.
Commission for the town of
Commissioner
Southington
Tedesco.
for Tuesday, July
Commissioner Sewell.
15, 2025 to
Commissioner
order.
Coles.
Present.
Dave, can
Commissioner Britton.
you please call the roll?
Commissioner Chaplinsky.
Here.
Vice Chair Walowski. Here. And Chair Hammersley.
Hammersley is here. I did hear from Commissioners Britton, Sewell, and Tedesco that they would not be here. So in the place of Commissioner Britton, I will see Commissioner Salmieri. And then the seats of Commissioner Sewell and Commissioner Tedesco will see Commissioners Guida and Commissioner Keard. So we do have a quorum. With that, if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. So in the place of Commissioner Britton, I will see Commissioner Salmieri. And then the seats of Commissioner Sewell and Commissioner Tedesco will see Commissioners Guida and Commissioner Keard. So we do have a quorum. With that, if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. If we could all remain standing for a moment of silent reflection, please. All right, thank you. Could all remain standing for a moment. All right, looking for a motion to approve our minutes from our last meeting on June 17, 2025. Commissioner Walowski?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Chaplinsky with a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to Commissioner discussion. Any subcommittee reports? We have a motion. Is there a second? Okay. Hearing none, I will share that I did attend as the representative from Planning and Zoning a meeting of the Economic Development Strike Force meeting that was held on June 26th of this year. And the purpose of that meeting was to have a discussion on the zoning north of I-84. This is along West Street. There's apparently a developer out there who is interested in some properties around the Cava restaurant area that is currently zoned as a West Street business district. They'd like to potentially entertain the idea of changing that to an I-1. So that was pretty much what the discussion was. I think a recommendation might have been made by the Strike Force Committee to this committee eventually that we do so. I abstained from that as is my usual course of action, and we'll see where that goes. So it's just really preliminary stuff, but I just wanted to share that with the group. In terms of Chairman's comments, I'll just read the preamble that we usually read, and we'll move into the public hearing. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. My name is Robert Hammersley. I'm the chair of the commission, and I want to take a few moments to explain the meeting format. Aside from administrative items, tonight's meeting is comprised of two parts: a public hearing. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Planning and Zoning. A public hearing and a business meeting. My name is Robert Hammersley. I'm the chair of the commission, and I want to take a few moments to explain the meeting format. Happens at the most Aside from administrative items, tonight's meeting is comprised of two parts. A public hearing. During the public hearing, applicants will present their application to us in detail, which will allow the commission members and the public an opportunity to better understand what is being proposed. Commission members may follow that up with a series of questions as needed, and then we'll ask members of the public who support or oppose the application to speak. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized by myself. Once recognized, come forward to the podium over here, state your name and your address for the record, and address all comments directly through myself and not to the applicant or other members of the public. Be advised that this is the only opportunity to ask questions or make comments on an application, because once a public hearing is closed, no additional testimony from the public or the applicant is permitted. I also will underscore that it's important to maintain order and decorum at all times during the meeting. We speak respectfully to each other, and that's a two-way street, so please adhere to that. If you do not, I will give you a warning. Afterwards, I have the right to, and I will ask you to leave the meeting if you're not going to be respectful to us. We are all volunteers up here, trying to do our best. After everyone's had a full opportunity to speak, all questions have been answered, and all information has been received. The commission will decide whether it's appropriate to close a hearing, and we will not consider voting on an application until the business meeting. During the business meeting portion of our agenda, The commission will deliberate on applications submitted to the commission and decide how to act on them. We generally have 4 different options. One is to approve an application as submitted, one is to approve it with stipulations, conditions, or modifications, and 3 is to table an action for future meeting, and lastly, we may deny an application on occasion. 4 affirmative votes of the commission are generally required to approve any application. There's 7 of us up here, so 4 represents a majority. If you have to leave the meeting before a decision is rendered, please call Dave LaValle down the end here at the planning department tomorrow, and he'll fill you in on what the results of tonight's meeting were. With that, we'll move into item number 9, public hearings. I'm going to, if it is okay with the applicant, I want to take up item A and B, which is the same applications, just different parts of it, together or jointly. I think it makes the most sense, but again, that's up to the applicant. This is Peter DiClemente, petition to change his own district boundary for property located at 1608 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike from a B zone to an I-1 to a floating special design mixed use under section 4.I.1 of the Southington zoning regulations. This is zone change 584. And then item 9B is to request to consider a special permit application under section 4I1 of the Southington zoning regulations to allow residential use above a proposed retail restaurant building, replacing multiple buildings built prior to 1990. This is SPU 716. To consider a special permit application. Sev, are you okay taking up those 2 items jointly? Of the Southington zoning regulations to allow residential. Or Peter, I see you shaking your head. You're actually the applicant, I believe, Peter, if I'm correct. Is that true? Okay, Peter, could you just come up? I just want to get you on record just to say whether you're okay with us taking those 2 items up in under one or not. Or Peter, I see you shaking your head. You're actually the applicant, I believe. And Peter, again, just start with your name and your address, please. There you go. Okay, just go around them. I just want to get you on record.
How you doing? My name is Peter DiClemente. My address, 298 Clark Street.
Yep.
And yes, well, we're here to present tonight. Sev is going to present, and I'll let.
Are you okay with us taking up those 2 items jointly? Okay.
A and B together.
It's the same property, that's why it's just in efficiency, it just makes more sense. So I appreciate that, Peter, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, let the professional now do what he, not that you're not professional, I'm sure you are, it's just, you know what I mean, so. Mr. Bravino, the floor is yours, sir.
A and B together.
It's the same property, that's why it's just in efficiency, it just makes more sense. So I appreciate that, Peter, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, let the professional now do what he, not that you're not professional, I'm sure you are, it's just, you know what I mean, so. Mr. Bravino, the floor is yours, sir.
We don't want to sign up. Where's my close button?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner
Chef, can you-
members.
yeah.
Seth Bovino, planner of Kratzer Johnson Associates, represented the applicant. The property is located at 1608 Meriden Waterbury Road at the intersection of Clark Street in the southeast quadrant of the property. I don't think the pointer will work on the screen, but it's, north is up, Clark Street is to the left. Oh, it does work. Here's Clark Street, north is up, and Meriden Waterbury Turnpike is here. So the southeast quadrant of this intersection, that's where the property is located. The property is served by public water and sewer. It is Zone B, and a small portion along the south property line is Zone I-1. This small sliver here. This property is located in an SDMU floating zone, special district mixed use, and that allows mixed use of business and residential. with the residential being on the second floor. This is allowed as a redevelopment project in a property with buildings built prior to 1990. The site currently has multiple buildings, some of them already removed for a total square foot of 21,130 square feet, existing structures on the site. The proposed building has a footprint of 11,464 square feet. So it would be all combined in one building. The proposed building is a footprint of 11,464, as I indicated. This includes a restaurant of 1,936 square feet. The second floor is dedicated to residential. It's about 9,528 square feet, including the stairwells. The space will be dedicated, the upstairs space will be dedicated to residential A units, two of which will be restricted workforce housing, including the stairwells. The property has industrial zones surrounding it to the east, industrial to the south, and obviously there's public roadway on the west and on the north side. We provided, and this is the area map we provided with the application. We provided the names on the upper left corner of the sheet with the addresses of all the property owners. The applicant has notified those owners and has provided proof of mailing. We believe we provided a legal description of this property. We believe that it qualifies for the zone change. We submit that the granting of the zone change will not be injurious to the surrounding properties or prevent their proper development. We believe that this is an opportunity to clean up the property, provide a nice development for this corner, and increase the tax base. We respectfully request that you consider approving this application. We can go directly into the site plan and special permit at the same time?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, my name is Sal Bovino, planner, representing the applicant. The property that I just described during the zone change request is at 1608 Meriden Warbury Road in Milldale. This application for as SPU as required in the zone, overlaid zone, and section 8C and 8D of the zoning regulation. We provided a property map, the area map, showing owners within the 500-foot radius. For the special permit, we used the same map and the same list of names, and we notified the property owner and provided proof of mailing. I'm going to switch to the site plan to showing owners within the 500-foot radius. For the special permit, we used the same map and the same list of names, and we notified the property owner and provided proof of mailing. I'm going to switch to the site plan.
Top left, where it says 500-foot radius.
It's coming in. Thank you. It's coming in. Thank you. Oops. Again, the map on the screen, north is up, Clark Street is to the left, Meriden Warbury Road is to the top of the sheet. The proposed building sits a little bit of an angle on the property to capture the view from traveling on Route 322. So it's basically facing west. The entrance for the restaurant is up here in the front. The entrance for the retail is to the west side, and the residential portion will be accessed from the back. And there's a sidewalk here and a secondary access for the residential upstairs. The parking related to that is in the southeast corner. A proposed garage is on the east side of the property. There's an existing block building which will be removed in this area, and we're going to build a brand-new space there. Residential upstairs, the parking related to that. Again, the request is to allow a second floor above the proposed retail to be used for residential purposes as provided in the regulation. Proposal is for your units, two of which are for workforce housing. The unit numbers are identified on the building plans as number 2 and number 7. Your set has a full set of plans, plus the, attached to the back of the set is the full set of building plans. Highlighted on the building plans are the 2 workforce housing units. These units will be served by an elevator and stairs. The second floor is 9,528 square feet, including the stairs, well below the 12,000 square feet allowed by the regulations. The 2 units, the 2 units are studios, the affordable ones. The rest are 1-bedroom units. We provided the affordability plans for your review. The cover sheet show the building elevation. It's on the cover sheet, and the rest are 1-bedroom units. We provided the affordability plans for your review. The cover sheet show the building elevation. So it's a colonial-style building. It's on the cover sheet. The height of the building is 36 feet to the peak, not including the cupola. The materials are listed on the right side of the building elevation. If you see on this side here of the building plan, the materials are listed. But they are vertical and horizontal siding, composite corners and windows trim, stone facing along the bottom. At the bottom of the building here, you have a strip of stone. The windows are aluminum, and the doors are the same aluminum, the dark windows. We provide the existing condition map showing in your set. You'll see that we have the existing condition map and the stone. The windows are aluminum and the doors are the same aluminum, the dark windows. We provide the existing condition map showing in your set. You'll see that we have the existing condition map and the so this is the current condition. You see multiple buildings, some of which were removed, but the foundations remain on site. The proposal is for 13,669 square feet, the new building. This includes the garage, which is to the right, to the east side of the property. 1,953 square feet is a restaurant. No, the garage is 1,953 square feet. The restaurant is 1,936 square feet. Sheet L1, which is the landscaping plan, shows landscaping, parking, light post locations. We provided a photometric plan which shows no light spillage on the neighbors, all lighting to be LED, full cutoff as required. We propose 1 curb cut on Route 322 and 1 on Clark Street. We provided a photometric plan which shows no light spillage on the neighbors, all lighting to be LED, full cutoff as required. This is the landscaping plan. We propose 1 curb cut on Route 322 and 1 on Clark Street. On the south side, we have industrial zone in this area here, and so we provided vinyl fence, 6-foot vinyl fence, and 1 row of evergreens. There is a house on this property here, but it's currently used for a junkyard, basically. But we are providing that buffer as required. Vinyl fence, 6-foot vinyl fence, and 1 row of. The next sheet, which is the grading plan, shows the drainage property here, but it's currently used for structures and the proposed grades with all the ENS controls. All the notes and details are on the plans. The desire and the water quality is achieved by underground storage, which will be in the south, along the south property line here. The drainage computations were provided for review. The rest of the sheets, D1 and D2, are details, appropriate details and notes. Attached at the end, as I said, was a full set of plans. If you want to look at the rest of the sheets, D1 interior of the building, appropriate details and notes. This is the first floor. You have 3 tenants there, and on the upper left corner of the building, you have a potential restaurant. The applicant does not have someone already interested in that. That's something that we're planning for. The second floor, as you can see, there's stairs, a hallway to the elevator there in the center. And you have a potential restaurant. The applicant does not have someone already interested in that. That's something that we're planning for. The second floor, as you can see, there's stairs, a hallway to the elevator there in the center. And so the second floor does not cover the restaurant, and it is obviously smaller footprint, less than the 12,000 square feet allowed. The 2 units, there will be workforce housing are indicated here, and they are approximately 500 square feet. Scott Haskett, we received comments, we responded in writing. We hope that you consider approving the special permit and the site plan to allow this redevelopment to take place. It's a key intersection in town, so we would appreciate if you consider that. Scott Haskett is here to talk about traffic.
Okay.
We hope that you consider approving the special permit and the site plan to allow this redevelopment to take place. It's a key intersection in town.
Thank you, Sev. For the record, name is Scott Hesketh, firm of F.A. Hesketh and Associates, East Granby, Connecticut. I'm the author of the Traffic Impact Report, which is dated May 27, 2025, which has been submitted in support of this application. Thank you, Sev. For the record, name is Scott Hesketh. And I'm trying to move up back to the colored plan because I'm the author of the Traffic Impact Report. That's the nicest one. Which is dated May 27. We were asked to take a look at the traffic impacts of the proposed development. In the course of doing so, we reviewed the files of the Connecticut Department of Transportation. Connecticut DOT had counts out on Route 322 from September of 2024. Route 322 carries an average daily traffic volume of about 10,000 vehicles, a morning peak hour of about 700 vehicles, an afternoon peak hour of 1,100 vehicles. In addition to that, we had manual turning movement counts conducted at the intersection of 322 and Clark Street. Those counts were conducted during, I believe, March of 2025. We also obtained traffic report for the, I believe it's the Stone Ridge development over on Route 10 in Cheshire, which has a component, a residential component on Ridgefield Street, which is the extension of Clark Street in the town of Cheshire. So we added that traffic to the background traffic volumes as well. So we've got a good grasp of the background traffic volumes for the area. In terms of the trip generation of the proposed development, you've heard that there's a retail portion, a residential portion, and a restaurant portion. We use the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Report to generate the traffic for each of those uses independently. And the traffic volumes for the site as a whole, we assume to be the sum of those uses. Based on the ITE numbers, we're projecting a total of 266 trips during the morning peak hour. Again, assuming this, the restaurant's a coffee shop. A total of 195 trips during the afternoon peak hour. And a total of 305 trips during the Saturday peak hour. We projected that traffic to the roadway network, basically with about 40% east and west on Route 322, and the rest of the traffic heading northbound and southbound on Clark Street. We conducted capacity analysis calculations for the intersection of Route 322 and Clark Street, plus at the 2 site driveways, for both the background and combined traffic volume conditions. The intersection of 322 and Clark Street operates at a level service A in the morning peak hour and level service B during the afternoon and Saturday peak hours under the background conditions. Under the combined traffic volume conditions, we're projecting a level of service B during all 3 peak hours, and the average increase in delay is less than 2 seconds per vehicle during those peak hours. The 2 site driveways, we project that the main line traffic on each of the roadways will operate at levels of service A with delays under 10 seconds. and that the site driveway to Route 322 will operate at a level of service C during the morning peak hour, and a level of service D during the afternoon peak hour. And the site driveway approach to Clark Street, the site driveway approach will operate at a level of service A. We had the opportunity to review the intersection site distances of both of the driveways. ConnDOT requires that the site distances are provided for the 85th percentile speed at a distance of 15 feet behind the edge of the road. However, there's not a lot of right-of-way out on Route 322. If we look at the intersection site distance from a setback of 10 feet, we have an excess of 530 feet, which is good for an approach speed of 47 miles per hour in both directions. If we go back to 15 feet, which we certainly can do, we will need an easement from our adjacent property owner. We have to adjust his fence a little bit, and we need a site distance easement across his property to see the 530 feet, but it is certainly doable. In terms of the driveway on Clark Street, we can see about 450 feet looking to the right. Looking to the left, our site distance is restricted to about 150 feet due to a fence at the property corner. We will require an easement from the adjacent property owner to remove a portion of that fence and have the ability to look across his property. We believe we can get up to 390 feet of site distance, which is acceptable for 35 mile per hour approach speed. And I'm told that the applicant is in discussions with both property owners to obtain those site distance easements. The project will require approval from the Connecticut Department of Transportation for an encroachment permit in order to construct the driveway out to Route 322. And we'll be submitting to the DOT for that, should this commission act favorably upon this application this evening. If there's any specific questions the commission has related to traffic, I'll be happy to address them at the appropriate time. Do we have any more submitting to the DOT for that, should this commission act favorably?
Mr. Chairman, I want to add that we provide sidewalks along Meriden Woodbury Road and Clark Street. We provide sidewalks internally, and we're providing electric vehicles, charging stations on the property. If you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to address them.
Okay. Okay, thanks. I've opened it up to commission members. Do any commission members have any questions they want to ask? Commissioner Orlowski.
So just to clarify, you mentioned three tenants. Does that include the restaurant, or is it the
Thanks. I've
restaurant
opened it
plus
up to
three tenants?
commission members. Do
or-
any commission members have any questions they want to ask?
What is
On the bottom
the
floor.
square footage?
You're showing, you're showing three units and a restaurant. Is one of the units part of the restaurant, or?
No.
So there'll be four,
There'll be 3 units dedicated to retail, and then
plus the restaurant.
the other will
So
be a
that's
restaurant.
basically 4 tenants. is
It's
what I'm-
designed to be a restaurant, so it's a 4.
How many parking spaces are dedicated to the residential aspect?
2 per unit. It's indicated in the table, in the parking table. It's designed to be a restaurant, so it's a 4.
So a total of 16. Okay. How many parking spaces are dedicated?
The requirement is 70 total, and we provide 74. 2 per unit. It's indicated in the table, in the parking table.
I think a total of 16. I'm good for the moment.
You
Thank
good?
you, Seth.
Okay. Commissioner Coles?
The requirement is 70 total, and we provide 74.
First question, I have some specific site plan questions, but you got to explain to me, the regulation talks about buildings that were constructed prior to 1990. We're building a brand-new building here.
Commissioner
How does
Coles?
that fit into our regulation?
In the regulation, we addressed now the buildings that were built prior to 1990, which these were built way before 1990.
But this one wasn't. We're building a brand-new building. We're building.
Not the new ones, this is a redevelopment. We contemplated redevelopment also in the regulation, if you read the regulations. Redevelopment of a site, so this, we taking older buildings, removing them and replacing with a new building.
We're building.
Not the new ones. We discussed that during the regulations tax change. And also it's indicated in the regulations.
Okay.
So this, we taking older
Um,
buildings, removing them
I'll have
and
to accept that.
replacing them with a new building.
So you did talk about outdoor storage space and that there was nothing out there. Where on the site plan, if you could maybe point it out to me, okay, is your dumpsters going to be? And since you have a food service establishment going in, I would assume that there probably would be some grease tanks to be.
There's a grease trap proposed, yes.
Not for the
External.
grease trap, but for renderable grease. So not the bad stuff.
Yeah, the dumpster are way to the right of the site. I don't know why this is not on anymore. There's a grease trap.
So south of the garage?
Not the grease trap.
Yes.
For.
There's like a little cutout, I think, with.
Yeah,
some-
there's arborvitae around it.
Bad stuff.
Yeah, the dumpster.
And so
are
that's the
way to
space
the
for,
right of
so
the
that,
site.
that
I don't know why this-
enclosure is gonna be able to accommodate 3 retail spaces, 8 residential
there's,
dwellings,
arborvitae
and a food
around
service
it.
establishment.
Yes,
And so that's the space
that's what we
for,
plan.
so that,
There's gonna be 2 dumpsters there.
enclosure
There's plenty of
is gonna
space there to
be
have
able
2
to
dumpsters
accommodate
and small
retail
space for the
spaces,
oil and grease if they need
8
a place to.
residential
have a
dwellings,
container there.
and a food service establishment. Is there a storm drain? And it's hard to kind of see. I don't think that that's actually in the drawing that I'm looking at.
It's not near a storm drain, if you look on the grading plan, which is,
Is there a,
Sheet
is there a storm
G1?
drain? And it's hard to kind of see. I don't think that that's actually in the drawing that I'm looking at.
it's
Page
not
is that?
near a storm drain, if you look you can see the nearest storm drain set of basins are probably 100 feet away. Sheet G1, is that what you're trying to?
I think I'm trying, yeah, as long as I'm trying to make sure that it's not going to be right
Yeah.
in front of that.
It's those squares with some shading around see it, the those are the
nearest,
catch basins. Storm
Okay,
drain
I
set
think
of
I see that now.
basins are probably 100 feet away.
And then I think
Is that what you
Steve got my
trying
parking question.
It's basically, these are the catch basins and dumpster Those areas squares right with here. some shading around it,
Okay.
those are the catch basins.
Okay, I think I see that now. All right, those are my questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And then I
You're welcome.
think Steve got
Okay.
my parking-
Commissioner Kier?
It's basically,
Thank you.
these are the catch basins. and
So
the
this
dumpster
restaurant is
areas
proposed
right here.
as fast food, and I know we
Kat, can you
don't,
get a little bit closer to the mic? I can't.
this restaurant is proposed as fast food, and I understand right now we don't have any intentional clients at this point. But is the thought that this will only be drive-through service, or
There's sit down, there's.
sit down as well?
This restaurant is proposed
Is there
as
any
fast
thought
food, and I
behind
understand right now we
the
don't
potential
have any
client
intentional
being
clients
either
at this
or?
point.
Like, could it be
But is the
sit-down
thought
takeout
that
service
this will
or
only be
drive-through?
drive-through
Or are you
service,
really looking to
or-
attract one who will do it all?
Sit down as well.
Let me ask the client.
Is there any thought behind the potential client being either or? Like, could it be
State your name and
sit-down
address, and,
takeout service?
do you understand the
or
question?
Yeah,
drive-through?
Peter
Or
DiClemente,
would
298
attract
Clark
one who
Street.
will do it all?
Thanks for the question, and we were going to entertain it all, and we've always kind of looked at, and we talked about it last time, there's a plaza in Middletown.
Yep.
Neil's Donuts.
Yeah,
And not that it's going to be Neil's Donuts, but they have a little indoor, you know, you could sit there, they have a little drive-through, they have a nice business, coffee, whatever. Something like that, nothing, and so we just kind of want to leave it open to that.
okay, yeah. 8 tenants, you know, with
Not that
with
it's
single
gonna be Neil's
bedrooms,
Donuts, but they have a
and
little
it's not a
indoor,
lot. I
you know, you could
just,
sit
I'm thinking
there, they have a
about
little
how mixed
drive-through,
use
they have
this
a
is, but
nice
that's,
business, coffee, whatever. Intentionally kept the restaurant where there's no residential above
yeah, 8
it.
tenants. Which I like.
Oh, We didn't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want the smells,
It's not a lot. I
you know,
just, smart.
definitely a
Thinking
good
about
separation.
How mixed
Okay.
use this is. And then it looks like drive-through traffic would
Intentionally
be
kept the
in from Meriden
restaurant
Waterbury
where
Turnpike
there's
all
no
the way
residential
around the
above-
building,
Above it.
which I like.
We didn't want that.
And out that
It's a
way.
complete loop,
Smells.
yes.
Complete
Plenty of
loop.
stacking.
And we also have
Definitely a good
an option on Clark
And then
for
it
in and
looks
out
like
traffic,
drive-through
but not
Come in Clark
necessarily
Street at this
drive-through.
location
In
and
from
go
Meriden
to
Waterbury
the
Turnpike
drive-through.
all the way Okay. around the building. Okay, that satisfies my questions.
Most people coming from the south, most likely will go here,
And we
obviously.
also have
Yeah.
an option
All
on
right.
Clark.
Thinking,
for in and out
thank you.
traffic, but not
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
necessarily
You all set?
drive-through.
Any other questions from members of the commission to the applicant?
I have one, I think building off of Kat.
Please,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry
go-
about that.
Go for it.
Building off of Kat's question, so
If there's going to be drive-through service, and, you know, to Peter's point, there weren't going to be tenants above the specific restaurant, but how would you have it loop around, and then, like you said, the access to, I believe, the units upstairs would be in the back, so I mean, would there be, you know, for safety precautions, would like the access to the upstairs units be on the end or something, like just making sure people don't get run over when somebody's going through a drive-through?
Yeah, there's a parking area in the back, and there's a walkway, there's a crosswalk. From here, there's a parking area here for the tenants, and there's a crosswalk leading to a sidewalk to the back entrance.
Got it.
Yeah, there's a parking
Thanks, sir.
area in the
All set?
back.
Okay.
And there's a walkway.
Any other
there's a
questions to the
crosswalk
applicant from members of the commission?
From here.
Okay, I have a couple.
There's a parking area here for the tenants, and there's a
You mentioned
crosswalk
sidewalks
leading to a
along
sidewalk.
Meriden Waterbury Turnpike. You're not looking for a waiver on this application, are you?
No, sir.
Okay. 6.E.10, which talks to buffers between certain zones. It was brought out in the comments from the planning office to you. Could you speak a little bit about the buffer that you're looking at right now and let us understand, because a two-thirds majority of this group is required to get any relief from that buffer requirement. So could you just talk about that a little bit, Seth, please?
Yes, based on the new regulations, overlay regulations for residential over business, we are, with the two-thirds vote, we are allowed to have a fence and a row of evergreens or some kind of a live type of green space there. We don't have the 30 feet, I believe it's required in I-1 zone. This is an I-1 zone right here. There's the space goes from, let's say, 5 feet to, as you can see, it gets much wider here. But we don't have an even 30 feet all across there to provide a 30-foot buffer there. So we opted for this with the fence and the row of evergreens, which they grow pretty fast.
So how wide would buffer be, assuming you get the two-thirds majority here?
You have a
How
fence,
wide would the
yeah.
buffer be under the plan?
You have a fence, then you have a row of evergreen. Most likely, the trees would be planted at least 6 feet away from the fence to allow for
How
growth.
wide would buffer
So you'll
be,
have
assuming you get the
six,
two-thirds
the tree
majority
itself
here?
is going to end up growing another 6 feet. On the other side, it's probably 12, 15 feet total, and then we'll have grass. The rest of here, it's grass area. And then in these area here, you'll have the curb.
Okay. Is that the only area of the proposed development where a buffer is required by our regulations?
And then we'll have grass. The rest of here,
For the
it's grass
site?
area. And then in these.
In other
area,
words,
you'll have a curb.
is a buffer required along this other area? I mean, it's not required along the street, but along this other area, is it required here as well?
This is an industrial zone, which is a storage facility here.
Yeah.
There's no buildings here.
Is a buffer
So
required
we are
along
providing
this
a
other
row of,
area?
are providing, and the fence
It's
at
not
this
required along the
location.
street, but along this other
The rest
area,
of the
is it
way,
required?
I'm not showing any This is, buffer or anything. this is It's an all industrial storage zone, which facility is a here. storage Is that what you asking me?
Yeah, so just for clarification, Dave LaValle, my recollection was when we changed that or
The rest of the way,
permitted the
I'm
storage
not showing
area
any buffer.
that was an
It's all
industrial
storage
zone. I
facility.
believe we changed it
Is that
to a
what you
business
asked?
zone, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Am I
clarification,
incorrect, which is completely possible?
Yeah, in my review, Mr. Chairman, it was all industrial around it.
Permitted the storage
and the
area
buffer
that
waivers
was an
required
industrial
for,
zone. I believe we
the
changed it to a
industrial
business zone, if I remember
adjacent to
correctly.
a
Am I
residential zone or use. So in
incorrect,
this
which
case,
is
it's a
completely
use
possible.
within an industrial zone, so he didn't really have to carry that fence over, but he did, so I was satisfied with it.
So in your opinion, Dave, do we need a two-thirds? Do we need a vote on that, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
to allow the reduction.
Just so I understand procedurally when we get there, so, and Sev, you understand that as well, correct?
Yeah, there's no residential uses or zone from
Understood,
here
yep.
coming down to this point.
Right.
The requirement is from this point forward because there's a house on the premises, even though it's used for junkyard.
And Sev, you understand that as well?
That's what.
Currently, I mean, who knows what the future holds? I mean,
Yeah.
who knows, maybe Peter buys
Here,
that one
coming
too,
down
and he
to this
develops
point.
that one, so, but,
The
okay.
requirement is from this point
Building
forward
height, there was a
because
question by
there's a house
staff
on the
about building
premises,
height. Can
even
you
though
speak to
36
that?
feet. used for
36
junkyard.
feet, you mentioned you had a caveat in there that it's 36 who feet
knows what the future holds.
without
Without the cupola.
Without the cupola, so what is the total height including the cupola? Building height.
I don't know if
was
a
question by
cupola would be
staff about
considered part of the zoning
Okay.
regulation, but it's probably 8 to
36
10
you
feet
mentioned
high.
you had a caveat So the regulation allows 40, so we're cutting it pretty close, but.
If you- yeah, if you count the cupola, you're pretty close.
Okay.
I don't know if a
All right.
cupola would be
Thank you.
considered Thank part you. of the zoning regulation.
Any
but
other
it's
questions?
probably 8 to 10
Christina,
feet.
go ahead.
Hi.
So the regulation allows
So I
40,
see
so
that
we're-
there's
we're-
8 units
we're cutting
planned,
it pretty
correct?
close, but-
Pardon? If you
8
count-
units.
Kristen, could you get closer to the mic, please?
There's 8 units planned?
8 units, yes.
Okay. 2 of those are going to be set aside for affordable
Any other
housing?
questions?
For a workforce housing, yeah.
Okay, great. I don't have any other questions.
It's affordable, it's the same thing.
Yes.
Same thing. We like the workforce
Kristen, could you get closer to the mic,
language.
please?
There's
Uh,
8 units planned.
25% versus 20. The
2 of those are
regulation
going to be
we
set aside for affordable
discussed was
housing?
20. We were able to get 25.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
It's a term of art, I guess, or nuance, whatever. Okay, seeing no other questions from members of the commission, Sev, I'm going to open it up to members of the public, and we'll see what they have to say and invite you back up to respond to anything that might be said, so thank you. So at this time, is there anyone who'd like to testify in favor of this application? Please come up to the podium, start with your name and your address, and let us know what you think. We'll see what they have to say and invite you back up. Not seeing a lot of activity out there. Thank you. So at this time, is there anyone who'd like to testify in favor of this application? Again, this is in favor of the application, Regina. Start with your name and your address and let us know what you think. Not
I'm
seeing
just
a lot
trying
of
to,
activity.
Yeah.
Regina Coviello, 12 Beaches Street. I'm trying to picture where it is. In my
Regina, can you
head-
just start with your name and your
Yeah,
address, please?
I did. You didn't hear me, that's all. Regina Coviello, 12 Beaches Street. I was trying to picture in my head where it is, you know,
So this is-
first.
This is on the corner of Meriden, Waterbury, and Clark.
Right.
This is across the street from Manor Inn.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Manor
Okay,
Inn is
so
on the other
right
side of Clark
across,
Street.
okay. And the question is, like, so right now, are there like just pieces of buildings and stuff? I haven't been out that way in a while.
It's somewhat what I'll just
Does it look
use the
crappy?
diplomatic term, a little bit dilapidated.
Okay, so anything there would be an improvement as long as it does regulations, I'm assuming, and meets any regulations. And if there can be a few apartments above it, then I would say, okay, as long as everything meets whatever regulations.
Just to refresh your memory,
Yeah.
Regina, this was the zone change that we took off late
Right,
last year.
and I remember,
early
which I
this
think
year.
is really good, because if we can kind of add a few here, if you can put 2 apartments up above the building, and that helps 2 families,
Just to
then,
refresh your memory.
you might as well,
Okay,
so.
So you support it, okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
right.
Thank you.
right, and I remember.
Any
which
questions
I
of
think
Regina?
is Really good. 'cause
All
if
right.
we can
Anyone else
kind
wish to
of
testify in
add a
favor of
few
this
here,
application at this
you can
time?
put 2 apartments up above the building, and that helps 2 families, then.
You're the applicant, Peter. I think we know where you stand, but go for it.
I know, I did speak to Jack Wenz.
Again, could you just state your name and your address? I'm sorry.
Sorry. Peter DiClemente, 298
I get
Clark
yelled at
Street.
down there if I don't get that,
It's all
so.
right, it's all good. I get yelled at. I spoke with, to Jack Wenz, he's the association president for Rivercrest Homeowners. And he wanted to come tonight, but I guess the last minute he couldn't make it. They represent 93 of the living units right around the corner. He just wanted to express that he's 100% with it. They've had conversation within the association, and kind of can't wait till this gets developed and those buildings get demolished. So
Right.
I just wanted to state that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else like to testify in favor of the application?
Within the
Okay,
association.
Sir, you getting up back there?
Can't wait till.
No. Okay, anyone like to testify in opposition to this application at this
I just wanted
time?
to state that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Going
Okay,
twice?
anyone
else like to testify in favor? Seeing none. Sev, Peter, anything to add on this
Sir, you
before
getting
we
up back
consider closing it? No. Okay, anyone like to testify in opposition to this application at this time?
Mr. Chairman, we don't have anything to add unless you have any questions, additional
Seeing
questions.
none. Okay, any other questions from members of the commission to the applicant? Just to put it on the record, Dave LaValle, are you satisfied with the responses that you received from the applicant with regards to this application?
Chairman, we don't have anything to add unless you
Yes,
have any
Mr. Chairman.
questions, additional questions.
Okay, any other questions? Dave Engineer, are you satisfied? Norse, right? So- Just to put it on the
Yes, thank
record.
you.
Okay, so
Dave LaValle.
you both are satisfied with the responses you received. Okay, is there any reason to keep this public hearing open in your mind, Sev, or are you okay with if we close it?
We get closer.
Okay, any objection from members of the commission to closing the public hearing? Okay, okay, so seeing none, we'll close the public hearing on those two items and move on to item 9C and 9D. Again, if the applicant is okay taking these up as one item, are they all right with that? Any objection from members of the commission to closing the public hearing?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Yes, absolutely. We can certainly take this up as one item. For the
Just give us
record-
your name and your address to starter, and then I'm gonna call the items, and then we'll move into them,
Yep.
so.
For the record, Andrea Gomes. I'm an attorney at Hinckley Allen at 20 Church Street in Hartford, Connecticut, here tonight on behalf of the applicant. And while you're doing that, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to ask Mr. LaValle
Give us your
to
name
get me
and
into
your
the
address.
laptop.
He'll help you with your IT issues. All right, item 9C is 3 Squared LLC proposed zoning text amendment for revisions of Section 4 of the zoning regulations, special zones. The proposal includes adding Section 4.J entitled Affordable Housing Zone to allow for the development of a multifamily community as well as set aside development as defined by General Statute 8-30G-A. 6, and to promote housing choice and economic diversity within the town of Southington. That's Zone Amendment 620. And item 9D is 3 Squared LLC petition to change the zone district boundary from business zone to an affordable housing zone, property located at 1104 South Main Street, zone currently as a business zone. This is zone, would be zone change 582. Attorney Gomes, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, good evening, everyone. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, nice to see you again. Andrea Gomes, counsel for the applicant. We have a bit of the cavalry with us today. On my right, we have Roy Evgen on behalf of the applicant. We have Peter Bugren, our consulting architect from Peter Bugren Architects, Steve Judas on behalf of Cole Civil and Engineering, Scott Hesketh, our consulting traffic engineer from F.A. Hesketh and Associates, and then behind me right here is Joseph Versteeg from Versteeg Associates, our safety and code compliance expert. Unfortunately, Bart Beauvais from Cole Civil couldn't be here tonight, but he did participate and in the revisions of the plan and stormwater management report that we will be discussing tonight. Before we get into the substance of those revisions, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to touch briefly on the schedule for the public hearing. As the Commission recalls, it's been a little while since you've seen me. We opened the public hearing on May 20th. The Commission elected, and just for the record, over the applicant's objection, to continue the public hearing to the 2 meetings in June to allow for public comment, but not applicant presentation. I understand at the last meeting, Mr. Chairman, there was a request made of my colleague who is here just pinch hitting for me to obtain an extension from the applicant up to and through the August 28th deadline, which is the date by which this commission must close the public hearing. And Mr. Chairman, I believe what I passed on to you through Mr. LaValle via email was just a request, and this could be held towards the end of the presentation if the commission would like to reserve discussion. But if the commission is inclined to continue the public hearing beyond tonight's meeting, certainly the applicant would be willing to grant an extension. The one, and this is a personal request, I am unfortunately not available on August 19th. The commission knows they only have 1 meeting in July and 1 meeting in August, and August 19th is I will be out of the state. So what I proposed to Mr. LaValle, and then again to the chairman via email, was that the commission call a special meeting to just wrap up, hopefully, the public hearing and close it. I provided 2 dates. I believe they were July 29th, which is 2 weeks from now, or August 5th. I felt that it would give, again, it's a personal request from me, as I won't be here in August, and I'd like to see this through the conclusion of the public hearing, but it would also give the commission and members of the public a dedicated meeting to provide any final comments or questions that they may have. So I'll just put that out there now. I'm not expecting an answer. Perhaps we wait until the end to see if the commission wants to continue.
I think just in terms of neatness, if you will, administratively, let's take that issue up, if it's okay with you. Are you okay with that?
At the end, Mr. Chairman,
Or we'll do it now, before you get into your presentation, just so we can get that one resolved and move forward with just the presentation. Is that all right with you?
Certainly, with the caveat that if the commission feels that it has the information before, that it needs to close the public hearing tonight, then this is a moot point, but if the commission would like to discuss dates now, that's fine with me.
Okay, and I'll just ask a question. When did we receive the most revised?
Certainly, with the
July
caveat
9th.
that if the commission
I'm sorry?
feels that it has July 9th, Mr. Chairman.
So Thursday last week, I believe, correct?
Correct.
So we've had it for 3-4 days. Okay.
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
And I don't, and I personally don't think, and I'm not going to speak on behalf of my commissioners, but I think that universally, that's not ample time to look at a significantly revised plan. I think that in fairness to us, you probably would agree with that, and maybe more importantly than you or I or anyone else up here, as the members of the public haven't had time to review whatever it is. And this presentation that we're going to get afterwards will really be the first one that we've had on this revised plan. Right?
Understood, Mr. Chairman, which is why I bring it up.
Acknowledged, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the revised plan and all the things, but we'll get into that later on. Our schedule is adopted well in advance of any calendar year. We actually adopt it in September of every year. We adopt our schedule for the forthcoming year. So the schedule for this year, setting August 19th or tonight, or 2 months ago, or January dates were set in September of last year. You understood those dates. Those dates are publicly available. You understood those dates when you filed your application, right?
Understood, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And I'll poll members of the commission to see who could assure that they're available on any of the 2 dates or any other date between now and the 19th, where we might hold a special meeting, aside from the availability of the public themselves, just members of the commission logistically, just by a show of hands, who could assure that they would be available on either of those 2 dates? We might hold a special.
The 29th, it was July 20, through you, Mr. Chairman, July 29th, yes, July 29th, which is 2 weeks from today, or August 5th, were just 2 of the options I pulled to our team.
So I got one raised hand.
Either of those 2 dates.
29, I won't be here.
Yeah. Okay. The other date, Caleb, could you?
August 5th, I will be
July
here.
29th.
Okay, so we
yes,
potentially
July
at
29th,
best
which is
have
2
two
weeks from today,
members
or
who are here
August 5th,
tonight.
were just 2 of the
Granted,
options I
2
pulled
members
to
are
our
not
team.
here, 3 members really,
So I got one raised hand.
who have indicated that they could be available.
The other
I
date,
myself, I can't guarantee it. I assume that
So
Commissioner
potentially at
Chaplinsky,
best
I'm
have
not
2
sure.
members
yeah,
who are here tonight.
Walensky, Gaida, or Salmeri could not guarantee, and therefore we wouldn't have a quorum and we couldn't hold a public hearing
Have
anyways.
indicated that they could be
Understood,
available.
Mr. Chairman, and we can
myself,
certainly,
I
again,
can't
if it's the 19th, it's the 19th. My
assume
colleague
that
will be
Commissioner-
here on my
Okay.
behalf. We'll make it happen. It was just, I too sit on a planning and zoning
I
commission,
understand.
so we sometimes do special meetings to
And
accommodate
we've done,
an
we've done
applicant.
those as well.
Yes.
Being the summer, it's a little bit difficult, I'm sure you understand.
Of course.
However, the extension of a date, which we have until, as you noted correctly, I calculate as August 28th as the last possible date that we'd have a public hearing open on this. That gives us 165 days from the date of filing, which is May 20th of this year. That is something that you have to grant us. I don't think that we have the ability to impose it upon you. Are you okay with that?
Mr. Chairman, in all my years of practice, I think there's been one instance where I've refused an extension when it's been requested by the commission. Yes, of course, we will grant the extension. I will send Mr. LaValle a written confirmation after the meeting. I just wanted to reserve discussion on the length of the extension, potential dates for tonight's meeting.
Yeah, and I appreciate all that. I appreciate the commissioner's input. I appreciate your perspective and where you're coming from, and I understand that, just like you, we have dates that are sort of like set out there, and, you know, and we try to do our best to sit here as often as we can, and we do a pretty good job at it, as I'm sure you do as well. So I appreciate your willingness to extend it out to August 19th, and I think that in fairness to, again, to us, and to, again, more importantly, members of the public, it gives us all time to digest what we're going to hear tonight and come up with any possible, I don't want to call them objection, concerns, maybe issues, things to consider, that type of stuff, and to sort of, again, digest what we're going to hear tonight. And if it's okay with you, I'm fine just moving into your presentation on your new plan.
Absolutely, and again, thank you to the
Appreciate
commission.
it.
Again,
Thank
I
you.
was not meaning to inconvenience the commission. It was just worth a shot, if you will. But my colleague will be here on the 19th to hopefully close things out. So, all right, with that behind us, the commission should have, and you just touched on this, Mr. Chairman, a submission from us that was made on July 9th. It's a tabbed package. There was also a revised stormwater management report. I included an excerpt, the narrative excerpt of that report in your tabbed package. Full copies of the stormwater management report went to staff. There was also a revised plan set. Certainly, Mr. Judas will be reviewing those, but I will touch on just the highlights, the big ones, if you will, at the outset of the presentation. I will just, actually, I'll start with the elevation here. So the big one is that we remove the fourth floor, reducing the overall unit count from 65 units, which the commission saw at the last meeting, down to 54. We are now down to 45 one-bedroom units and 9 two-bedroom units. With the 30% set aside, that takes us to 17 affordable units, and we've prorated that so that you have the 14 one-bedroom and the 3 two-bedroom as set aside affordable. Another thing that we did, we pulled the building back, or forward, if you will, from the rear and side property lines to about 25 feet. And I think if I toggle my mouse, you cannot see it on the screen. So if the commission looks at the rear of the building, thank you, Dave, we have pulled the building closer to the street frontage. As the commission will recall, there has been lots of pushback from the public and members of the commission on the height of the building and the proximity to the rear property lines. We took that to heart, revising the plans accordingly, as the commission can see. That being said, we will just respectfully remind the commission that the underlying zone requires only 10-foot setbacks for these side property lines. And in fact, 456 Atwater Street, I believe, sits just about 15 feet from the property line itself. So again, compliance with the underlying zoning regulations is not a valid basis for denial of an 830G application. But at this point, as you will see on sheet C1 of your plan set that you should have, commissioners, you will see that we fully comply with the underlying bulk regulations, including height and setback in the B zone, and we've then translated that to the proposed new affordable housing zone. In addition to reducing the unit count and the height of the building, pulling the building forward towards the street, we've also been able to tweak the parking to provide 1 space per 1-bedroom unit, 2 spaces per 2-bedroom unit, and an additional 7 visitor spaces that can be used on site. Now, I will leave the remainder of the revisions to Steve and the rest of the team. I'll just run through some of the other materials that were in our package. We did submit a few minor revisions to the proposed affordable housing zone regulation. The commission can find that at tab 2 of our package. What we did is we took our May submission and then we used good old-fashioned track changes to show you the revisions that we made. We further narrowed the location of an eligible property for the affordable housing zone. That was a request made by Mr. LaValle just before the May public hearing. We just took the opportunity to incorporate it formally into the written regulation. We revised and reduced density, height, and parking standards to reflect this current plan. So again, making a bit of a tighter regulation. And then we did correct one typo, and then there was one anomaly. We had the required property size, and then we had the minimum lot area, and a member of the public in the May public hearing correctly highlighted that those were a bit contradictory. So we just removed that and made that clear, and that is reflected in the updated zoning table. At tab 9, the commission will find our health department approval. We did also receive comments from Mr. LaValle on our July 9th submission, which we responded to in writing on July 10th. We basically clarified one question that he had and agreed to the other proposed revisions that he had, and Mr. Judas will touch on that. Now, at the May public hearing, there were, and since then, there were a number of claims regarding alleged negative impacts, and this is from the members of the public, alleged negative impacts of multifamily developments. Claims that crime would increase, concern at the changing demographic of Southington, concerns that children would run loose without supervision because of these apartments, and so on. Put simply, these claims are inappropriate, they're shameful, and they are based on discriminatory stereotypes, and perhaps...
Mr. Gomes, could I just suggest to you, we all understand that those are unfounded and speculative at best. I don't believe that this commission, when we take this application into full consideration, will weigh that as any part of whatever decision we may end up making. So in the interest of time, I would just encourage you to be brief as to these points. I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. For the most part anyways, but I'm just suggesting to you that maybe in the brevity, I would just encourage tighten up your presentation. Those things are not going to be part of what this body has ever considered in any of the 830G applications that I've sat in on, which this would be the third one over the last 4 years. And I suspect that it will not be something that's considered as part of what we weigh when we take this into consideration later on this year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that, and I certainly appreciate the Commission's approach and the legality, the recognition that those are inappropriate statements. Mr. Chairman, respectfully, I do have to make my record, so I just want to point the Commission to the studies that we provided to the Commission, a number of scholarly articles and studies at tab 7 of the submission, which provide data, empirical data, showing that crime rates in higher density developments are not different than those in lower density developments, and that property values are generally not negatively impacted as a result of multifamily, and in some instances, in fact, increase as a result of multifamily development. So there's a lot of articles there, some bedtime reading, if you will, at tab 7, and that's all I'll say, and I'll move on from there. At the May public hearing, we did discuss one proposed approval condition, and essentially, we did this verbally. Essentially, it was accepting the suggestions made by DEEP in their NDDB, their Natural Diversity Database letter that we submitted earlier. We just put that in writing at the end of our memo at tab 1 for ease of reference for the Commission and staff. And then lastly, I addressed a host of what I'll call legal principles that are relevant to the Commission's review of our application and generally to the discussion that we've had to date on the proposal. The first one that I want to highlight is case law in Connecticut is very clear that code compliance is dispositive of safety. I submitted just 2 cases, 2 examples of that, and I'm certainly not going to go through those cases or read them in detail, but the Cross Street case, in which, by the way, Mr. Versteeg was the fire safety and code compliance expert for the applicant as well, but the court made a good point and said it would be, and the word they used, disquieting, if public health and safety were not adequately protected by the applicable codes when they have been specifically designed by professionals trained in public safety. And courts have adopted that view over and over and over again, confirming that code compliance is dispositive of safety. The second principle that I wanted to touch on is we saw or heard, a number of comments from members of the public that residents or passersby are going to violate the law. They're going to park illegally, they're going to drive in violation of traffic safety laws, they're going to speed. Connecticut case law has, it won't surprise the Commission to hear, we hear that a lot in our multifamily applications, particularly those under 830G, and Connecticut courts have been very clear that these assumptions that people are going to violate the law are speculative and they're improper and not a valid basis for denying an 830G application. There's also this provision, or this principle, if you will, that I explained to the Commission at the first hearing, that we are entitled to a legal presumption that our residents, the applicant, members of the public generally, are going to comply with the law. So I again included several citations to support these points. I'll just point the Commission to the Brenmore case. It's an appellate court case that I actually had the fortune of working on behalf of the development earlier on in my career. And there, the Connecticut Appellate Court confirmed that speculation that emergency vehicles wouldn't be able to access the site because people would park illegally on the street was speculative and could not form a public health and safety risk to justify an 830G denial. So with that, the Commission has those resources in my memo. I'm going to now turn it over to Steve, who's going to touch on the plan revisions. Because people would park illegally on the street was speculative and could not form a public health and safety risk to justify an 830G denial. So with that,
Good
the
evening,
commission has
Mr.
those
Chair and Commission members.
resources
For
in
the
my memo.
record,
I'm
Stephen
going to now
Judas,
turn it over to Steve
Principal
who's gonna
of
touch on
Cole
the
Civil and
plan
Survey,
commission.
876 South Main Street in Plantsville. Here tonight on behalf of the applicant. Attorney Gomes kind of took most of my my presentation away, describing what we did to the site. After, I think, our first hearing, we kind of took a step back and looked at, what could we do to actually make this a better site. We took some of the suggestions to heart, eliminated a floor off the top of the building and brought the building into compliance with a typical B zone. And then increased the buffers, moving the building forward and to the south in order to get a minimum of 25 feet along all of these property lines. And then we incorporated just landscaping and fencing all along those areas with lower landscaping out in the front here. And then just maintaining the existing vegetation along this property line. There's just woodlands on that side. In order to do that, we had to modify the parking. As you can see, we've changed this area to more of a T type of parking facility. We kind of retweaked the parking, try to maximize as many spaces as we could so we can get as many visitor spaces out of the site and still provide adequate public safety access to the site. We also took the opportunity to add some passive recreation areas. We proposed some benches in a green space area here, and then throughout the site we have some benches just placed throughout the area and some picnic tables that are proposed over this area as well to allow for passive recreation. The stormwater management system didn't change too much. We did, one of the comments that I heard at the last meeting was regarding soil testing. And we did go out and do soil testing in the area of the detention system and included that information in the report. As I mentioned, Andrea mentioned that the spaces were reduced to 70 spaces, and the overall height, the average height from peak to eave would be 44 feet. The total height to the peak of the building would be 51 feet. So we also did turning movements and provided those to the fire department to make sure that they were satisfied with the aerial truck coming around the site. Overall, in my opinion, this plan is a much better plan. And it can be constructed as proposed with no safety concerns or impacts. So if you have any questions for me about the changes that we've made, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. Overall,
We'll take up everything after everyone's done here, so.
the other thing I didn't comment on was just Mr. LaValle's latest set of comments. The only main question, he requested some information on the environmental chamber that we have for this parking area, discharges into like a oil water type of grit separator before it discharges into the underground storage system. So we provided specifications on that. He asked about a bioswale at the flared end outlet, which we said we would incorporate, and then mentioned removing plum trees from our planting schedule. So we will remove that plant, substitute it with something more appropriate. So there was nothing in that comment list that we don't feel that we can easily address.
Okay.
Thank you. I believe Scott Hesketh is going to step out of our planting schedule, and so we will remove that plant, substitute.
You're going to get some exercise tonight.
Yes, I could use it. Again, for the record, Scott Hesketh, licensed professional engineer, firm of F.A. Hesketh and Associates, East Granby, Connecticut. And we have submitted a supplemental memo, basically a response to questions and comments from the commission and staff at the last public hearing. That's dated June 30th of 2025. As you've heard, the site has been redesigned to reduce the number of units. So we have gone back and recalculated the trip generation of the proposed development, and we've run new trip level of service calculations at the intersections that we did in the previous report. We presented that information in our response. I'll go through it in a moment. We also did a number of other things to respond to comments from the commission and the public. It's all contained in the report, but I just want to go through it a little bit and give you a little taste of what we had done. One of the questions from the public was, were the counts done during the summertime months, because the traffic volume counts seem to be rather light. The traffic volume counts again, we had CONDOT counts, and we did counts ourselves. The CONDOT counts were conducted between September 3rd and 6th of 2024. A check of the Southington School calendar indicates that, yes, school actually was in session on those days when the counts were conducted. Manual turning movement counts were conducted December 11th, 2024. And school was in session on those days as well. So the traffic volume counts that are presented in the report and the basis of the analysis do include times when school was open and in session, so should include all school-related traffic within the study. Someone commented that other development traffic should have been included in the study because there's a construction going on just up the street. We did obtain from the town copies of the traffic report for the Live Well project. They're projecting an increase in peak hour traffic of 4 trips. And that's split 50-50 in 2 directions, so that traffic is additional 2 trips. Probably 1 in each direction across our site, not a significant volume of traffic. Well, we also obtained copies of the traffic volume for Stonebridge Crossing, again in Cheshire. It's quite a distance away, but we assume that all of the traffic that their traffic engineer projected traveling north on Route 10 will continue and travel across our site frontage as well. So we added that information to the traffic volume counts that we previously had and included that in the updated capacity analysis that was presented in our reports. And there are revised tables and figures in the report outlining that information as well. One particular resident indicated it takes 7 to 15 minutes to exit their driveway during peak hours. Again, we had conducted manual turning movement counts at the intersection of Atwater Street and Route 10. Based on the volume of traffic that we observed exiting Atwater Street, it's our estimate that the traffic perhaps had an average delay of about 35 seconds per vehicle exiting that roadway. And there was certainly a significantly higher volume of traffic exiting that roadway than any single residential driveway fronting to Route 10, so I believe that the 10 to 15 minute number might be a bit of an exaggeration. Might it take someone a while? Sure. Route 10's a busy roadway, we understand that, but 10 to 15 minutes is a little bit on the high side. So I believe that the 10 to 15 minute number might be a bit of an exaggeration. The speaker indicated that they weren't quite in agreement with our levels of service calculations for the proposed site driveway, again, probably based on the 10 to 15 minute estimates. We went out and did a gap study out on Route 10, where we have somebody sit there with a stopwatch, basically, and we click the watch whenever there's nobody in front of you, and we count the number and the lengths of gaps between successive vehicles on the roadway, and we use that number to determine how many vehicles can exit a side street into the traffic flow as it currently exists. Now, most people will accept a 7-second gap in order to exit a side street and enter onto the main roadway. So, and basically you need twice the number of gaps as you project volume of traffic during a peak hour. And that indicates that you've got acceptable levels of service and that you don't need, special means of controlling the traffic. Now, one person will accept a 7-second gap, but if 2 people are in line, both of them will accept an 11-second gap, and they'll both exit the driveway in 11 seconds. Again, 15 seconds, 3 vehicles can exit. So we observed all of those number of gaps, and we have significantly more than 10 times the number of gaps required for the volume of traffic that we're projecting in our site driveways. So we do believe that the levels of service that we've shown in the level of service calculations and tables are appropriate for the proposed development. 10 times the number of gaps required There was a lot of concern about traffic operations at the school across the street and how things operate. So we did do observations at the school and during an afternoon peak hour. We chose the afternoon peak hour because in the morning peak hour, you drive up, you drop somebody off, you go. In the afternoon peak hour, you may show up a few minutes early, a few minutes late, you got to get in line, people, it takes a little bit longer for an afternoon pickup. And on page 5 of our response to you, we jot down everything significant that happened during the time we were out there doing observations. Arrived on site at 2:15, and by 3 o'clock, everything was over and done, and most of the traffic activity occurred during a 15-minute period. During the time we were out there, there was short queues of traffic on Route 10, maybe 7 or 8 vehicles at most. Most vehicles arrived and left rather quickly. There were some U-turns at the restaurant to the south of the site, coming back to the school. And we observed a total of 3 children using the crosswalk across Route 10 to access the west side of the street, and there was a crossing guard on site to make sure that could happen and happen safely. So, based on our observations, it's my professional opinion that although it's a little bit of congestion, things operated safely, and that the additional traffic volumes associated with this particular development will not result in a public safety impact or create a hazardous condition along the roadway. Things operated safely. It was suggested by one of the commission members that perhaps there should be a crosswalk across Route 10 at the proposed location. We remind the commission that there is an existing crosswalk on the south side of Atwater Street at the school driveway, where the crossing guard helps people to get across the street. We believe that's an appropriate location for people to cross. It's better than having them down here at a mid-block crosswalk. In addition, we've got sidewalks on our side of the street are proposed to allow children to use the sidewalks to go up to the crosswalk at Atwater Street and cross at that location. And especially during school times, the school crossing guard would be there. One member of the public suggested there should be a light at the crosswalk to assist people. There is a utility pole at that location. There is not currently a light at that location, but if the town believes that lighting is appropriate, they can certainly make a request to the Connecticut Light and Power Company to have a light installed at that location. Again, during school peak periods, there's a crossing guard there and people can see and be seen by approaching traffic. There is some concern that cars are traveling too fast on Route 10 and that the speeds in the report are wrong. Again, the speeds presented in our report are taken from the Connecticut Department of Transportation's traffic volume counts. They're not my counts. I didn't do them, so we didn't skew the data. The Department of Transportation, when they do their periodic counts, they do it with tubes. The tubes are spaced a certain distance apart. There's a time mechanism inside the counter which can determine how long it takes to get from one tube to the other, and they can calculate how fast the vehicles are going. Now, the Connecticut Department of Transportation presents the 85th percentile speed, and that's the speed at which only 15% of vehicles are traveling faster than that particular speed. There's always going to be people that speed, certainly, but the 85th percentile speed is the design criteria that's been chosen by the Federal Highway Administration for design of roadways, for determining intersection site distances, and the like. And the Department of Transportation indicates that the 85th percentile speeds are 40 miles per hour in the northbound direction and 39 miles per hour in the southbound direction in this vicinity. One gentleman indicated that the sidewalk freezes on the corner of Route 10 and Working Street. He's out there shoveling it all the time during the winter. That's unfortunate. I'm not sure what it has to do with this particular application. But it's been mentioned here a number of times at public hearings. Perhaps the Public Works Department is aware of it now, and they might have a chance to go out and take a look at it and rectify that situation. That's unfortunate. I'm not sure what it has to do. One member of the public indicated that there are no sidewalks on Route 10. Our observations indicate that there are lots of sidewalks on Route 10, extending all the way from the I-84 ramps all the way up to all the way up to Main Street. We are proposing an additional sidewalk across our site frontage, and that, I think the sidewalk basically exists on the east side of the roadway, basically from I-91 to Main Street, and intermittently on the west side of the roadway. It was suggested that perhaps a guide rail could be installed across the site frontage between the sidewalk and the street. Well, in my opinion, that's not an appropriate means of protection. Guide rails are not designed to protect pedestrians from vehicles. They're designed to protect vehicles from veering off the road and hitting fixed objects like trees and utility poles. If you'll note, there's a guide rail exists just south of our proposed site driveway, as there's an area of wetlands there, there's a steep slope, there's a number of trees, and the guide rail is there to protect vehicles from going off the road in that location. In fact, if one looks at Route 10 throughout the entire length of Southington, there's only 2 sections of about 500 feet total where there's a sidewalk placed behind a guide rail. In every other location where there's a sidewalk and a guide rail present, the guide rail is placed behind the sidewalk. And that's done for a reason. One is because people using sidewalks, they have a need to try to cross the street on occasion. And if you have a guide rail in place, you end up climbing over a guide rail and doing that. And the guide rails are typically only in locations where there's steep slopes and woods, where most pedestrians aren't making a turn to climb over them to get into the swamp area or into the culverts. So that's not the way the Department of Transportation does things in Connecticut. We don't feel it's appropriate across the site frontage here as well. So that basically summarizes our report. Again, we've redone the trip generation calculations, so we've got slightly less trip generation than we presented to you previously because of the reduction in unit count. The levels of service and capacity of the intersections within the study area are similar to previous. Because of the additional traffic from the Stonebridge crossing, some of the delays are slightly higher, but because of the reduction in site-generated traffic, the impacts are slightly lower than previously submitted. And again, it's based on the revised information, the background traffic volumes, the site-generated traffic volumes, the design of the proposed development, the location of and design of the site driveways. It is my professional opinion that the proposed development at this location will not represent a hazard to public safety and will not have a significant impact on the highway operations of the local roadway network. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Peter to tell you a little bit about the revised architecture.
Could I, Attorney Gomes, with your permission, I just have a question for Scott, just on the revised traffic counts, because either I'm doing a bad job of pulling it out of our package, or I don't see it. Could you just speak to those? You spent a lot of time going through comments that were made in the public hearing, but I didn't hear you spend a lot of time other than to say that they're revised and they've gone downward. Could you talk about what the current counts are, and also with the revised development, what those counts are projected to be, and the level of service regarding both, please?
Sure. In terms
Is that
of
okay with you, Attorney Gomes? I don't want to.
Absolutely, Mr.
I just figured it saved them a trip, so.
No, that's,
Gonna toggle this so that
Also,
we
with the
don't lose
revised,
the.
no problem. In terms of the trip generation of the proposed development, in the original report, we had presented a daily trip generation of 498 trips.
I just
The
figured.
revised development is proposed to have 421, so that's a reduction of 77 trips daily. During peak hours, we had projected 43 in the original report and 40 for this development, so
Is that AM or PM?
that's the
or-
morning peak hour.
Okay, so what's the
The revised
current
development is proposed to have 421. so that's a
traffic
reduction of
generation
77 trips
under the current?
daily.
Like, you do a
During peak
baseline,
hours,
right,
we
which
had
is what the
projected
current is.
43 in the
Well,
original
then you do a
report,
projection
40
of what
for this
the development may
development.
result in. I'm just looking for those two
That's the morning
numbers.
peak hour.
Okay, so
Right,
what's the current?
well, for the development itself, we had projected 43 peak hour trips during the morning for the previous application. We're projecting a total of 40 during the morning peak hour for this application, a reduction of 3 trips.
For those two numbers.
For the afternoon peak, we had projected previously 49. This new development, we're projecting 44 for a reduction of 5. For the previous application. We're projecting a total of 40.
And the level of service
during
on
the
either of
morning
those
peak hour
would
for
be
this
what?
application. A reduction of 3 trips. For the afternoon peak, We had projected previously 49. This new development, we're projecting. If we're looking at the level of service at the side driveways?
Yep.
Yes, again, the driveway approach, we're projecting level of service B on both of the approaches during both of the peak hours, with delays of between 11.5 and 12.3 seconds per vehicle on average. And in this report, we separated the two driveways to two different approaches. I believe in the original report, we might have presented a single driveway approach.
Okay, and again, just, if you can just restate it, the delays between 11.5 and what's the?
Between 11.5 and 12.3 seconds per vehicle on the driveway approach itself.
Got it, thank you.
Certainly. Is that the two questions you wanted?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm good, thank you.
I'll be here if you have any more.
Yeah, we'll get there. And what's the?
Between 11.5 and 12.3 seconds per vehicle on the driveway approach itself.
Got it, thank you.
Certainly. Is that the two questions you wanted?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm good, thank you.
I'll be here if you have any. One thing that we have not included in your packet, but I was asked to run some trip generation calculations for other uses which may be allowed on the site for site plan approval, just for comparison for the commission. Again, we're proposing 54 units of housing, and we're looking at peak hour trips of 40 and 44 during the peak hours. Other units, other developments which might be allowed on the site, I believe by site plan approval, you can have a hotel on the site. We believe you could probably fit a 100-room hotel on the site, and peak hour generation for that would be 46 or 59 trips, so very similar types of numbers. By site plan approval, we could have a high turnover sit-down restaurant, which probably be about 5,000 square feet, and the trip generation would be between 48 and 45 trips during peak hours, which is very similar to what we're proposing. You could have a strip retail plaza, perhaps 20,000 square feet of strip retail plaza would fit on the site, and that would have a peak hour generation, according to ITE, of 47 trips during the morning peak hour and 132 trips during the afternoon peak hour. You could have a strip retail plaza. You could have a general office building, and you might have a 20,000 square foot office building, maybe 10,000 square feet of floor, and the appropriate parking. Again, site plan approval, that type of use would generate 42 trips during the morning peak hour and 44 trips during the afternoon peak hour. All of these uses, with the exception of the strip retail plaza, generate just about the same volume of traffic which we're proposing for this particular use, and those are all allowed by site plan approval. So, just food for thought for the commission, in case that was in the back of your mind, we wanted to present the information to you.
Thank you.
And I'm allowed to sit down now, so I'll do that. Thank
For a
you.
little bit.
So, for a little bit. Just food for thought for the commission, in case,
Peter Begrin Architects, 295 Perkins Street, Bristol, Connecticut. We made a few changes. The biggest one was to take off the fourth floor, bringing us down to 54 units. Everything else remains the same. Peter Begrin Architects. I think at this point, it's my opinion that the building is safe and code compliant. It can be built as proposed with no safety concerns or impacts. If anybody has any questions.
Everything else remains the same.
I think at this point, it's my opinion that the building is safe and code compliant.
Could you restate that last sentence again
Built
for
as
me, please?
proposed with no safety
My professional opinion
concerns or impacts.
is that the building is safe and code compliant
Any questions?
and can be built as proposed with no safety concerns or impact.
Okay, thank you. Could you restate that last sentence again for me, please?
My professional opinion is that the building is safe and code compliant and can be built as proposed
Good
with no
evening.
safety concerns.
For the record, my name is Joe Versteeg,
Thank you.
Torrington, Connecticut. I'm an independent code consultant specializing in building and fire safety code. Been doing so for the last 40 years or more. I have reviewed the architectural floor plans and elevations, as well as the development site plans for compliance with the Connecticut State Building Code, Connecticut Fire Safety Code, and Connecticut State Fire Prevention Code, and determined them to be compliant. What we look at is the building height, the building materials, construction type, fire protection systems that are required to be provided, the exits that are required to be provided for the occupants within, the location on the site, and the interior layout. Based on that, as stated in my April 26th letter, it's my professional opinion that the proposed residential development does not result in an adverse impact to a substantial public interest in health, safety, or welfare. As based on some input from the public, I submitted a June 30 supplemental document dealing with 2 items. One of those was dealt with tonight. As they explained, the building was pulled back a little bit from the property lines, giving it more distance. That kind of relates to setbacks, and my concern from a building code standpoint is the building code deals with proximity to a lot line, and the closer you get to a property line, the fire resistance rating of the exterior wall increases, and the percentage of wall openings, i.e. windows and doors, lessen, because we're concerned about a fire in the building transferring to a neighboring property. The building code, because it's 20 feet or more away from the property line, requires no fire resistance rating on the exterior wall. And because we're 20 feet or more from that property line, there's an unlimited number of window openings and door openings that are allowed, so there's absolutely no restrictions. In fact, the entire wall could be glass, if you choose to. That's provided in the June 30 letter. There was also a reference to placement of the exit stairs within the building, and that it may or may not violate the provisions of OSHA. I would offer that the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970, administered by the U.S. Department of Labor, does not apply to residential occupancies. It was designed for safe and healthful workplaces for employees. Even if it did, the exits in this building are totally compliant with OSHA. If you read 29 CFR subpart E 1910 that deals with egress in OSHA, you will find generalized, non-measurable wording. Because of the vagueness of the OSHA standards, believe my testimony before the Labor Department was in 2003, as a result, OSHA has said, included in its standards, that if you comply with the 2009 edition of the International Fire Code and the 2009 edition of NFPA 101, if you comply with the egress arrangements within those standards, you're deemed to be compliant with OSHA. Now, the benefit is that if you comply with it says that the 2009 edition of the International Fire Code, it gives you measurable distances. What's interesting is that in Connecticut, we use the International Fire Code 2021 edition as Part 3 of the Fire Code, which would be applicable to this building under construction. It gives you measurable distances. The travel distance to an exit in the 2009 edition of the International Fire Code, offered as an option by the U.S. Department of Labor, and the distances that are in the current Fire Safety Code, 2022 Fire Safety Code, are identical. You're allowed to travel from wherever you are within your dwelling unit, the other side of the bed, inside the bathroom, the shower, sitting there watching TV, that most remote point that you could be. You're allowed to travel along through the apartment into the corridor and reach an exit door, having not traveled more than 250 feet. The maximum travel in this building is far less than that. It's about 216 feet, 220 feet. So this building, although OSHA doesn't comply, if it did, it would be compliant. I have nothing further. The maximum travel in this building is far less than that. Thank you. About 216 feet, 220 feet.
Mr. Chairman, that essentially concludes our presentation. I will just note we did submit a revised resume for Mr. Versteeg into the record as well, simply to show the commission that he also has experience as a former state police officer. So again, just adding one more feather to his cap, if you will, on the public safety and compliance front. With that, Mr. Chairman, I suggest I defer to you. I'd suggest we move to public comment and then, or commission questions. Rather.
We'll decide how we run our commission meeting. I appreciate your suggestion. Open it up to commissioners. Any commissioners have any questions of the applicant at this time?
With that, Mr. Chairman, I suggest I defer to you. I'd suggest we move to public comment and then.
Commissioner Czaplinski?
Yeah. I know you said you reduced the number of the units from, was it 45 to 45 one bedroom, and then 9 two-bedroom with 2 spaces per unit for 2 bedroom, 1 space per unit. How many is that the total number of parking places, or were there more to accommodate potential visitors and such? I just want to have an idea of what the overall is versus just for people living there.
Overall parking is 73 spaces, was it? Yeah, so it's 1 per 1 bedroom, 2 per 2 bedroom, plus 7 additional parking spaces for visitor. Actually, I have the number right here. We have 70 parking spaces total on site. 73 spaces, was it? Yeah, so it's 1 per 1 bedroom, 2 per 2
Any other
bedroom,
questions,
plus 7
Commissioner
additional
Coles?
I don't know if we asked this
parking
before,
spaces
maybe
for visitor.
if this has
Actually, I
changed.
have
Is
the
there any
number right
EV
here.
charging stations on the site?
We have 70. I believe we put in EV charging stations. How many? I'm just going to look to Steve to see how many. Yes, just for the record, there's 8 EV charging stations on site.
I don't know if we asked.
EV ready, excuse me.
EV ready. Is there any EV charging stations?
Yes, which means that the, I appreciate, it won't be reflected in the transcript, but I appreciate the excitement. It just means that the infrastructure is there to be built. Just for the record, there's
Any other questions from members of the
on site.
Commission?
EV ready, excuse me.
Commissioner Kier, do you have a
Yes, which
question?
means
Or,
that
I see you motioning, I'm just wondering if you have a question, or if you
Reflected in the
just,
transcript, but I appreciate the excitement. It just means that the infrastructure is
Okay.
there to be built.
okay,
Improvement from last time.
okay. I have some.
Commissioner Kier, do you have a question, or?
I see you motioning, I'm just wondering if you have a question. As to who this is appropriate to go through, Attorney Gomes, that's your call, so I'll work through you. A parking needs analysis, I had mentioned to your surrogate at the last meeting whether one has been conducted or whether one would typically be conducted as part of a traffic study. I'm just curious.
Do you want me to answer them as they come, Mr. Chairman? So,
I have a series of them, so sure.
Sure. So I can certainly ask Scott to opine on whether he does parking needs analysis. I can tell you as applicant for developers who frequently apply for 830G applications or multifamily developments generally, we typically don't do a parking needs analysis, particularly, excuse me, whereas here, we are meeting and exceeding by 7 spaces the state standard. So generally, again, Public Act 21-29 provided that commissions cannot require more than 1 parking space per 1 bedroom unit and 2 parking spaces for 2 units or more unless the town opts out. And we generally, in 830G applications, will look to that standard as a good measuring stick, if you will. We don't have to comply because it's 830G, but we look to that. And here, we've complied, so we don't believe there's a reason for a parking analysis. I'll look to Scott to see if he can.
Before Scott gets up there, can you just repeat the state statute that you referenced?
Public Act 21-29. In 2021, the regulations were, or excuse me, the state statutes were revised through that
I
Public
worked up
Act.
there for 20 years, I understand, I can apply those to a general statute somewhere along the line, so I got it.
That was more for the benefit of the public, Mr.
Got it,
Chairman.
yeah,
So,
sure.
yep, they were revised to provide that minimum parking
Okay,
standard.
understood, thank you. Scott?
I worked up there for 20 years, I understand, I can.
Well, we have not done a specific study for this particular site, but we have done parking needs analysis at a number of apartment-type developments in the past. Typically counts between the hours of 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning. It's been our experience that the parking needs has been 1 space per bedroom unit, based on the number of counts we've done within the greater, well, in Connecticut, let's put it that way. Rocky Hill, New Britain, Bristol, and the like. So 1 space per bedroom unit tends to be the maximum need.
Okay, Scott, maybe you stay up there, and again, Commissioner Gomes, I'll go through you.
Commissioner Gomes, you promoted me.
Oh, I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Chairman.
yeah, well, there you go, maybe, who knows? You do it for free, though. I don't know if that's a promotion.
I sit on a commission too, so I'm also Commissioner Gomes.
So you get it.
I get it.
I'm not sure where, but that certainly matters.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Our last, I'll just state that our last 3 830Gs
I
that
sit
have
on a
been
commission too, so I'm also.
taken up by the town of Southington, Hillcrest, Lanning Street, and Liberty Street, over, I believe, probably the last 15 years or so. In the case of Hillcrest, that proposed and was approved at a 2.5 parking spaces per unit. In the case of Lanning, which is our most recent one, the applicant is sitting behind you, that was approved at a 3 spaces per unit. number of parking spaces. On Liberty Street, which was done in 2020, that was proposed at and approved at a 1.75 for a one-bedroom unit and a 2 parking spaces for a 2-bedroom unit. Our current regulations require, for residential, as you may know, require 2 spaces per each unit. So for every house, if you will, apartment, we require 2 spaces. The most lenient, if you want to call it that, is in the case of 55 and older housing, where we only require 1.5 spaces per unit in those instances. The average number of vehicles owned by households, according to MoneyGeek.com, and I think it's backed up by data that's collected by FHWA, the Federal Highway Administration, is 1.83 vehicles per household, assuming that at least some number of those one-bedroom units are composed of a couple, which would be 2 adults, some number, not necessarily all of them. That would result in a deficiency in the parking that's provided under your proposal. I want to give you all an opportunity to speak to that reality, if you will. Where does the off-street parking? Our parking regulations are couched in public safety. I'll just read them real quick and just highlight them real quick. The parking regulation, which is 6.b of our current regulations, you propose to change those under your regulations under a 4J3 number 3. But our current parking regulations, 6B1, which states the purpose of those regulations, are as follows. The section is intended to require provision of parking and loading spaces in each number, location, and configuration to accommodate the vehicles of occupants, employees, customers, and other persons normally visiting a use at any one time, number 1. Number 2, prevent parking in public streets of vehicles of any person connecting with or visiting the use. And number 3, ensure that the interior vehicular circulation systems are separate, or adequate rather, to provide safe accessibility to all required off-street parking. I want to give you an opportunity to state clearly why you believe 1 space per bedroom is adequate parking for a development being proposed of this size.
And I don't say this tongue-in-cheek, Mr. Chairman, respectfully, it's because the state says it is. I don't know about Hillcrest, Liberty Street, and Landing Street. I was not involved in those applications. I was not counsel for those applications. I don't know if those applications were approved before 2020.
All 3 were, yes.
But before, I was going to say before 2021, when the law changed, and the law was changed to provide that a commission, even in a non-830G application, cannot require more than 1 spot per 1-bedroom unit and 2 spots per 2-bedroom units. There's not even a provision in there about visitor spaces, and we've gone above and beyond that and provided 7 additional spaces. Now, that being said, and again, 830G application, non-compliance with zoning regulations is not a valid basis for denial. We're looking at public health and safety. But, and Mr. Chairman, I'll ask you to repeat the statistic you pulled. You said Moneygeek.com? What was the website?
It was MoneyGeek.com.
830G application, non-compliance with zoning regulations is not a valid basis.
So I'm not familiar with that statistic. We will certainly look into it.
You can research it. The date on it is February 4th of this year. And it cites specifically FHWA Summary of Traffic Trends 2022 National Household Travel Survey, which essentially says, in summary, as Scott may know this, that the actual vehicular traffic was, this is a 2022 study, was on the upward trend to pre-pandemic levels in 2022. I can only assume from now to then that that trend at least continued or even plateaued at that point to reflect a certain number of trips, if you will.
I can only assume.
And just on the Money Gate thing, it stated that that represents a 1.83 cars per household, represents an increase of 25% over the last 3 years.
Well, that's interesting, Mr. Chairman. Again, not familiar with the statistic. Again, I don't know where that study was, what multifamily, single family, I just don't know anything about it. That being said, there is a plethora of data out there. I believe there was an article in the New York Times maybe a number of months ago entitled "America is Overparked." I believe there are 4 parking spaces for every single vehicle within the United States. That was one of the many statistics that I saw. I actually wrote an article on overparking within the United States because it's a discussion I have with commissions across the state of Connecticut. Again, I point the commission back to the state standard. We meet it and exceed it. I point the commission to the testimony you just heard from Mr. Hesketh, the only licensed traffic engineer that we've received testimony from, saying that in his other parking needs analyses that he's done in similar developments throughout the state, you're looking at 1 per bedroom, and we exceed that here. And again, I would caution the commission about looking at the parking that you had previously approved in other 830G applications, because as I'm sure this commission would not want to establish that there's a precedential effect in what it approved for those 830Gs here. You have to take each application on a case-by-case basis. So I'll say that. We'll look into that statistic and see if there's anything else to add.
Okay, fair enough, and I just want to give you a chance and the members of your team an opportunity to respond to some of the things, and I will say that with regards to the over 50, maybe 70 people that we've heard from over the last 2 months on this one application, predominantly in opposition, that is what it is. The issue of parking was one of the issues that was raised predominantly by a majority of those people, and I think that it's a concern that we need to sort of think about as we go into consideration on this application. I'm sure you appreciate that. I guess my next question, just to stay on the parking thing for a second, is that if they're not going to park on that site, I grew up in a family with, I'm 58 years old, I'll be 59 at the end of this month. My family was pretty much grew up in the 70s, and we were a 2-car family. Grew up in Wallingford in a relatively suburban area, but nevertheless, we were a 2-car family. I think that most people understand that they're 2-car families. And in the event that a 2-car resident moves in, I assume that there wouldn't be a caveat as part of a rental agreement that they could only have 1 car. But in the event that there's a 2-car family out there, where would it be suggested that other car park? Because you're only allotting 1 car for a 1-bedroom. I want to live in a 1-bed. I want to downsize. I have 4 bedrooms now. I want to downsize. I'm getting older. I don't want to deal with the yard. I want to move into a place that, I just basically turn the door, walk in, and it's all set for me. I want a 1-bedroom, right? But I have 2 cars. Where am I going to park that other car?
So funny, Mr. Chairman, the downsizing is part of the reason for the housing crisis in the United States right now. But in any event, the 2-car family, I'd like to pick up on something you said, Mr. Chairman. You grew up in a suburban neighborhood, in a suburban area.
It's what this town is.
No, and I understand that, but was it a single-family home? Again, it's not an apples-to-apples comparison necessarily, and part of providing multifamily housing is housing choice, people who are living a little bit differently than people did a number of years ago. So keeping that in mind, but in terms of managing the number of cars on site, I will certainly speak with the applicant and talk about how the management will be, but generally, the management is on the applicant or the property manager that the applicant hires to maintain the community. I usually get pushback on this statement, but I'll say it. No one has a greater interest than ensuring that this site runs efficiently and cleanly without any parking issues, without any issues in maintenance and things like that, than the applicant, because those are the calls that are going to be coming to the applicant if there's insufficient parking. And I've been in developments where there are insufficient parking, so I would just put that out.
I would encourage that to happen, and hopefully on the 19th they come back with a response, because
We'll take a look at it,
me
Mr.
looking
Chairman.
at that site, I don't see a viable alternative to where they park. I mean, if the suggestion is they park on the street, that has, let me finish, that has issues. They're not gonna park at the jewelry store. They're not gonna park at the housing development on the other side. They're not gonna park at the school. And if the suggestion then is that they're gonna park at the park and ride lot that's on the other side of an exit and on-ramp to an interstate highway, I think there's significant safety issues there, not the least, or concerns with regards to public safety, but also, that's a DOT-owned lot, and I'm sure DOT would not approve of residents parking on their park and ride lot, which is intended for people to park, catch a bus, or carpool, and go to wherever they're going to come back again. I'm sure that whatever number of spaces are there, they want to do it. And I'm sure that people do not want to walk across an interstate, essentially an interstate highway at the end there, to get to wherever they might be going. That presents dangerous concerns, I think.
Respectfully, Mr. Chairman, I think that hypothetical you just presented was extremely speculative. It's presuming, A, number one, that we don't have enough parking on site, which we believe we do, as does the Connecticut State Legislature. It's presuming people are going to violate the law, again, which there is a legal presumption against. And it's presuming that people are going to want to go and park at the park and ride however many hundreds of feet south of the site and traverse back and forth from east to west along South Main. I do not think that's a concern. I believe it's speculative, respectfully, but we will look at the question you asked about multiple cars on site and leasing provisions.
And that one car per bedroom requirement is contained within Public Act 21-29. Yeah, okay. Is it 29 or 129?
21-29.
Got it, yeah, okay.
It made changes to the zoning enabling act, so 8.2.
I remember it. I don't really remember that piece of it. I think it had ADUs as a part of it. But let's move beyond that.
21-29.
Zyro, which is zero runoff from water discharge. Does your project propose, or the applicant's project propose to adhere to our Zyro regulations, which says that there shall not be any, Steve knows what it is, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask
so
Steve
maybe
to
he's
come
the
up
best
here.
person to answer, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Steve to come up here just so you have.
Probably a good idea.
Mr. Chair, we did design the stormwater management system in accordance with your regulations and ran the appropriate storms to provide a zero increase in peak runoff.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Steve to come up here just so you have.
We also provided stormwater quality as well.
All right. Maybe Steve needs to stay there, but again, I'll work through you. We had a gentleman who came and testified at our last public hearing on June 17th of this year, which you may be aware of. He's a licensed professional engineer. And he spoke, amongst other things, about the stormwater quality and reference to that. Have you reviewed his comments and feel that you've adequately addressed the issues that he raised?
I believe that we did. He was concerned about changing drainage patterns, which we do not believe that we were doing. He talked about soil testing, which we did perform.
Have you reviewed his comments?
We
and,
provide stormwater
feel that
quality
you've
and
adequately addressed the
zero
issues
increase
that
in
he
peak
raised?
runoff. So I believe that we were in compliance, and we did submit the plans for review for staff as well.
Have your staff done what he suggested are requirements to run test pits to evaluate soil for stormwater management? Have you done that?
So we were in an AB soil, so we're not required to do a double ring infiltration test. We're only proposing, we did a deep hole test to verify depths of the stratifications of soil, groundwater, ledge, and things like that.
For stormwater management. Okay, and I'm just going to read from our minutes, which were approved earlier today, a comment that he made, because I'm not a technical guy like you are, so I'll leave it to you to translate what this means, but I kind of have an idea. But he said, the project appears to be designed around a wetland buffer. However, many features, including the retaining walls, grading, and tree clearings, directly abut or even touch the buffer zone. He expressed that with certainty that during the construction, given that close proximity, that activity would encroach upon that sensitive area, and suggested that a local wetlands review and approval be obtained. Could you respond to that comment?
So we worked very hard to stay outside of the wetland buffer. It's a wetland buffer. It's not a wetland. It's not a regulated area. And the whole point of a buffer is to protect the wetlands from activity. So we comply with that 100-foot buffer. There are areas where we have more space to work in than others. We do have some areas that we're very close, but we're also working in a grassed lawn area. We would typically field stake that line prior to construction. We would place our silt fence uphill from that line, and then we would perform our activities outside of that wetland buffer.
Okay.
And wetlands, it has been reviewed by the wetland agent in town, and I believe that they were comfortable with what we were proposing.
Okay, the last thing he mentioned was a conversation about spotted turtles, which I think was acknowledged in the original application, that there is a presence of spotted turtles there, and that he said that the wetlands should be, or that there should be special concern that's provided in consideration as part of the wetlands in the area to acknowledge the state and reviewed for a 50-foot buffer. You've addressed that, I assume, yes?
Yeah, and the turtle issue is actually one of the easier endangered species to deal with. There's specific guidelines that the contractor will have to follow. The site would be ringed with silt fence to prevent turtles from entering the site during construction, and the site would be walked in the morning to verify that no turtles have bypassed the silt fence. So there's very specific requirements and recommendations from DEP for that type of species. And we've dealt with this numerous occasions. It's one of the more common species that we come across in the Southington, Cheshire, Plainville area.
Okay, and lastly, and Steve, I'm just going to assume because you know, you've been here enough.
Keep waiting for the last one.
To understand, well, the last one for a bit. But our lighting requirements, this application adheres to our requirement that we have zero runoff of lighting onto adjoining properties, I assume, yes?
Yes.
The way I read the proposed amendment, it would not infringe upon that?
Yes, and there is a photometric plan included in our plan set.
It does seek to, I think, look at the signage requirements and modify those, so I'm just curious about what that might be, because it pulls out two specific pieces, one with regards to sign illumination, and the other with regards to prohibited signs, which are poly signs. It says that those shall apply, but it doesn't mention the other aspects of our sign regulations, possibly with regards to size or allowed size, and it essentially seems to say that those do not apply, so I'm kind of wondering what's behind the sign piece of the proposed amendment. Possibly with regards to size or allowed size. And why not just have all the sign regulations apply? Those do not apply, so I'm kind of wondering.
Well, lighting, yeah, we didn't get into the signs with our lighting plan. We weren't proposing to do any illumination from a sign perspective. Our lighting plan was more for safety lighting around the building and the parking lot.
Well, the other piece of the proposed signage.
Yeah, we didn't get into
Regulation.
Zoning language says that it shall not be a separate approval, which I think essentially means that we approve it. Because under current regulations, it is a separate approval that staff approves, and we don't really get involved in that. We typically would not be involved in that. I did the sign regulations back in 17, so I'm familiar with it, and the question at that time came up is, do you want to approve it or do you not? And I said, if it ain't broke, there's no need to fix it. So we stay with what we've had for, maybe decades of, that staff approves, that whether that's building department or planning, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me, but I'm wondering why y'all are proposing that we would approve that.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chairman, again, to lighting, I'd point the commission, because we were talking about two of the same, different things, but at the same time. So lighting, I'd point the commission to the photometric plan at sheet L1. That's what Mr. Judas was just talking about. On signage, I see what you're talking about. In the proposed affordable housing zone regulation, we specifically called out and said it shall not require separate approval. I think that was just to allow the applicant to propose signage in conjunction with the application, if so, in conjunction with this application, if so desired, not requiring separate approval approval beyond the fact. We did call out the specific sections. I have to go back and look to see why we did not just incorporate all of the sign provisions. Typically, we don't incorporate, an entire section if there's a lot of carve-outs and discretion and things like that that would essentially be contrary to the intent of 830G. I'll go back and look at that and see if we can just adopt all of the sign regulations and just keep it as a staff approval. I'll discuss that with the applicant.
I mean, frankly, without showing my cards here, I'm just going to say, I'm not sure what's so onerous in their sign regulations that they need to be partially adhered to, but not partially adhered to. And the second thing, if you could look into it for me, is there a sign plan under the site plan? I don't recall seeing one, but I really wasn't looking for one because I assumed that it was done the same way that the regular regulations. I didn't realize that you guys had called that out, so I'm just curious. So if you can clarify that for me.
We'll look at that, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, can I just touch on two things you said previously? On NDD, on the spotted turtle issue, I just again point the commission at the end of my tab 1 memo. We proposed a specific, again, subject to the commission approving the language, a proposed approval condition that we'd comply with DEEP's recommendations regarding the turtles. So that language is already in there, and we've accepted that and intend on doing so during development. And then regarding wetlands, again, I completely echo what Mr. Judas just said, and then respectfully also the determination of whether or not a wetlands application is required is not within the purview of this commission. That is a determination for the wetlands agent and then and/or the commission, depending on the town. But again, beyond the purview, but we've addressed it nonetheless. So didn't mean to cut you off, Mr. Chairman.
No, that's fine. I appreciate your clarifications. And I want to open this up to the public. I hope that people understand that I've had some time to look at this, and I just want to, I have two more points I want to bring up and ask the applicant to apply to or reply to, and then we can give you all an opportunity to the extent you all want to come up, and I know it's 9 o'clock, so I hope to get these done quickly. The traffic evaluation, how many days, over the course of how many days did the traffic evaluation occur?
I'll ask Scott to come up and answer that. I have the dates written, but he may know them off the top of his head.
I think I know the answer. I just want him to tell me. The traffic evaluation.
Well, it depends exactly what you mean. We've got state counts which cover, I believe, 3 days.
No, I'm just talking about your active traffic counts that you did as part of this proposed project.
Again, I'm going to say that the CONDOT counts covered a 3-day period. The morning, afternoon counts were conducted over a 2-hour period during the morning, 2-hour period in the afternoon. We've made observations out on site, again, during the one afternoon drop-off period, and then the gap study was conducted over a 1-hour period on one particular day. 2-hour period in the afternoon.
So let me make sure I understand your response. The CONDOT piece of the traffic counts is done over a 3-day period. Your specific counts to this project were done over a 1-day period. Is that what you just stated? If I can surmise what you stated, is that surmised correctly?
Reasonably close to what I said, yes.
Okay. Do you believe for a project of this size at this location that 1 day of traffic evaluation is enough to obtain an adequate and accurate, maybe more important, accurate picture of what this proposed project would potentially entail in terms of traffic counts?
Well, I've been doing this for 35 years, and that's basically the standard we've used on every project, big or small, that we've done. And the reason we think it's adequate is because we take the CONDOT counts, we do our own counts, we adjust the volumes to the highest observed volumes, we add traffic from other developments which have been reviewed and approved. So yes, I mean, it's what we have been doing for 35 years. I'm sure most other traffic engineers are doing it the same way. And yes, I believe it's appropriate, and we've had, 35 years of approvals through both the Connecticut Department of Transportation and probably 65 or 70 towns in the state of Connecticut.
So by comparison, the previous application, which involves roughly about 8,500 square feet for restaurant space and 8 units of residential space, you performed a 1-day traffic evaluation for that, similar to what you did here?
No, we did traffic volume counts, morning, afternoon, during the Saturday peak hours, yes.
Okay, and in that one, if I understood in the previous application, just for comparison purposes, I believe what you said was it would result in an AM peak of 266 trips and a PM peak during the weekday of 195 trips, compared to what I think you said here, and if I'm incorrect in my numbers, please correct me, because that's completely possible. On a daily trip basis, you suggested under this proposal would result in 498 trips, under the previous proposal and 421 trips, under the revised proposal, with pink counts, under this development in the AM period of 40 trips, additional trips, and a PM peak of 44 additional trips. Is that accurate?
Mr. Chairman, only because I have the numbers handy,
Under
I'll
this development
point
in the
you
AM
to the
period of
first
40,
page of Scott's memo at tab
additional
4. I think you had it
trips, and a
flipped.
PM
It was
peak of
421 under the
44
current
additional
plan,
trips. Is that
daily
accurate?
trips. And the prior plan was higher. It was 77 trips higher. So I think you had that flipped, but
Okay.
I believe that was an error. But the numbers are there.
Okay.
Yes, I believe the numbers you have are generally correct.
Okay. Okay, and the last question I have is really for everybody. Mr. Judas said, and I'm quoting, adequate public safety aspects of the project do
Yes, I
not
believe the numbers
exist.
you have are generally correct.
Again, Mr. Judas, no safety concerns. Mr. Hesketh said, the project will not result in a public safety impact. Your architect, and I apologize if I mispronounce this, I'm notorious for it, so, Burgon said there's no safety concerns or impact as a result of this project. Those were just stated. Mr. Hessick, in his report, stated, I apologize if I mispronounce this, notorious for it, so, I'll cite the page so you can reference it. There's no safety concerns or impact as a result of this project. Those were just on page 6, in response to question or issue number 5, which was talking about school drop-off and pickup. It starts on page 5, quote, "Nothing occurred during my observation that, in my opinion, represents a threat to public safety," which, based on what he previously said, I assume was one day. Could you enlighten me as to what their qualifications are with regards to determining if a public safety issue exists? Do they have any formal training in public safety similar to a police officer or a first responder with regards to public safety? Or are those just, which is okay, is that speculation or conjecture in public safety with regards to any parts of the pieces of this puzzle that they might be responsible for?
Absolutely not, Mr. Chairman. It's not speculation or conjecture. I have included the resumes or CVs for every single one of our experts in the public hearing record. I believe it's the last tab of our initial application submission. And you have here experts in their respective fields explaining, again, within their respective fields, for example, Mr. Hesketh talking about traffic, Mr. Versteeg talking generally about code compliance and fire safety, all testifying as to, within their fields, their professional opinion that this will operate safely. And taken together, the point is that the commission has confirmation from, again, a full panoply of experts that this will be a safe community. Again, we have their resumes in the record. I believe each of these experts has put their qualifications on the record. And I have no reason to believe, and the commission, I don't believe, has any reason to believe, especially since many of these consultants and experts are before you frequently, it seems like every month, that there is any reason to dispute their expertise within their respective areas.
You acknowledge that at one of the 70 people of the public who live in the area came forward and testified that it was, in his professional opinion, as a certified police officer, that this would pose public safety issues. Again, given his training and his professional opinion, this is stated on the record. I'm trying to give you all an opportunity to rebut that. But I haven't heard, nor am I familiar with, any professional training that anyone has, with the exception of your OSHA person who spoke mostly about the construction issues, which I understand and I take, which we also had another person who talked about that. But I'm not quite sure what specific training any of them have, and maybe you can elaborate on this between now and the 19th with regards to stating in a broad sense that this project doesn't pose any public safety issues. And as you know, public safety along with public health is one of the considerations that we are allowed to consider. So I'm trying to look at that very narrow picture to try to make sure that there's nothing there that would prevent us from being able to approve this application. That's my intent. So
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'd like to address that now just because we have our team here. If I recall, the gentleman who put that information on the record was talking about his experience in basically shooting radar, taking vehicle speeds as a member of an unknown police department, if I recall the public comment correctly.
I didn't ask him where he was.
No, and nor did he share, but I remember there was discussion about him being a police officer and basically being familiar with speeds. In my opinion, as again, a counsel who does this every single day, that in and of itself does not make a public health and safety issue under 830G in particular, but frankly for any land use application. But we did submit Mr. Versteeg's resume into the record. He has experience with the state police. So I'm going to ask Mr. Versteeg to come up here and put his opinion on the record to combat what that member of the public said.
He actually did. I mean, I didn't cite him because when he said it, I get that he has a background that facilitates that, but every member of the team that came up, aside from yourself, made this broad statement that there's not a public safety issue, and I'm just wondering what their training is for them to be able to reach that conclusion in a professional manner. I mean, a land surveyor, not to pick on Steve, but he comes more often than anybody else does here, in my opinion, I mean, I'm not familiar with any specific training, and I ran a professional engineering firm for 10 years, specific training that a land surveyor may receive with regards to saying that ABC project is not a public safety concern based on my professional experience. With all due respect, and not to disrespect you, but I don't think a land surveyor has that background or that capability to make that broad statement.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd opine that a police officer doesn't have the qualifications to opine on public health and safety when it comes to building code compliance, or when it comes to engineering, or architecture, or any of that. That's why we have this many consultants. I'm sure our client, any client, would love to come with one person to all of these hearings and just put on the presentation. But we specifically have developed a team with this wide, far-reaching type of expertise to be able to opine on each of these elements. Now, with respect to Mr. Judas, he is a land surveyor. We have his resume in the record. He's a very experienced person in this field. He has a lot of experience here before this.
Surveyor too.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll also point the commission to the fact that Mr. Beauvais, also with Colin Civil, his resume is in the record. He was here at the May public hearing, and he too has developed all of these documents which confirm that we're compliant with the stormwater management regulations, soil erosion sediment control, and the list goes on. So you have a PE here as well in the record confirming that this plan was appropriately developed.
Okay. Last comment that I'll look, I think you have one of the applicants sitting out here, right? One of the comments that came up relatively predominantly from members of the public, I want to give him an opportunity, if he chooses not to respond to it, but I want to give him an opportunity to respond to it, or you an opportunity to respond to it, was paraphrasing why this project and why here. Again, if you don't want to respond to it, I completely understand, but I want to give you the opportunity to respond to that, because it was something that was a theme that came from a number of the 75 people that testified in front of us.
Yeah, I'm going to put it to Roy. I believe Roy, and again, this is Roy Ebgen, member of the applicant, I believe he did put into the record in May his motivations for doing this, but I'll ask him to again touch on that.
Well, even though you did that, apparently didn't resonate because a lot of people came to us and said
No
that
one
to us.
listens
So
to us, Mr.
we're-
Chairman.
here we are on July 15th, the day after Bastille Day. I want to give you an opportunity to respond to that, and if you choose not to, or to the extent you choose, I completely get
Sure.
it. So go ahead.
Roy
Apparently didn't
Ebgen,
resonate
3
because a
Squared
lot of
partner,
people came to us and
100
said
Center
that.
Street, Southington.
We're-
So
Here we are on
there's a
July
lack
15th,
of,
the day
which
after
we all
Bastille
know,
Day.
housing. We
I
need
wanna give you
housing.
an opportunity
We
to
need
respond to that
apartments, we
if you
need
choose
places
not
to
to,
stay.
or to the extent
People
you
that are
choose,
hurt the
I
most
completely
by
get it.
this current environment we're in are actually people looking for starter apartments. This will provide, I believe it's 7 one-bedrooms for 1181. I believe it's 7.
We have it in here, so whatever, yeah.
Okay, so it's supplying a need that's not there. You can't get a brand-new apartment for that price unless it's deemed affordable. I think I use my son as an example. My son's gonna graduate from college.
We have it in here, so.
He's not gonna wanna live back with me for too long. He would be a prime tenant for there. So that's, I think it's just filling a need. And I believe, actually, I think I use my son as an example. You can correct me. My son's gonna graduate from college. He's not gonna wanna live back with me for too long. He would be a. Tony D'Onofrio got up and actually said that this was a good location for an affordable project. I believe, actually,
Okay.
you can
Okay.
correct me.
I appreciate your response. And with that, I'm done with my line for now. I don't know if you have anything else before I open it up to the members of the public to come
No,
forward.
just confirming Roy's statement that
You just get closer to the microphone.
Just
please.
confirming Roy's statement that the rentals, which are in our affordability plan, the commission will have those calculations, were 1181 and 1443 for the one-bedrooms that are rent restricted, and then 1495 and 1834 for two-bedroom, the two bedrooms that are set aside.
Okay.
So again, significantly lower than your average housing within the town of Southington and the region. Thank you. For the
okay.
one-bedrooms that are
Okay.
rent restricted.
Thank you.
And then 1495.
Let's open it up to members of the public. Is there anyone who'd like to testify on this application? Please come up to the podium, give us your name and your address, and share your thoughts with us.
Housing
Sorry.
in the town of Southington.
Does it make sense to take a restroom break? Maybe?
Wouldn't hurt.
Okay, let's, I know it's getting late, and I apologize that I took a while. Let's do 10 minutes, if that's okay. 10 minutes just for a bathroom break. Again, members of the public, please do not speak to members of the commission. This all has to be on record, and members of the commission, you know the rules, so please adhere to them. We'll be back here at 9:25, if that's okay. 10 minutes just for a bathroom break. Again, members of the public, please do not speak to members of the commission. This all has to be on record, and members of the commission, you know the rules, so please adhere to them. We'll be back here at 9:25. let's reconvene the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. So again, this is where the public gets to offer its input on items 9C and 9D. If there's anyone who'd like to provide public testimony to us, please come forth to the podium, start with your name and address, and please share your thoughts with us. Yeah, we can form a line here. There's a gentleman behind you, but race.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'll be brief. I do want to take, I'm sorry, my name is Wyland Dale Clift, and I live at 1175 South Main Street, Unit Number 9, here in Plantsville, just down the street. I wanted to take issue with something that Mr. Judas had said. I'm sorry. He said that, well, we're not doing any activity within the buffer zone of the wetlands area, and therefore, we sort of like pass that off as not a big concern. And I had stated, and I actually submitted a letter on June the 3rd, saying that the Southington Inland Wetlands can rule when there is activity located in an upland area outside of a buffer zone, and it is likely to impact or affect wetlands. Now, we heard, and I wasn't here for that meeting, Mr. Chairman, but we heard from a certified professional saying that in his opinion, he felt that there would be an impact. So, through the chair, I have a question for the applicant, and through the chair, does the applicant have a letter from the Southington Inland Wetlands Agency saying that it has no jurisdiction or that it is fine to proceed with this without filing an application, either from the agency itself or from its agent?
Okay.
Something for the record. That's my question.
And the way it works, just so you understand and everyone else understands, questions like that, I'll take them down.
Sure.
We give the applicant an opportunity to come out at the end of public comment and respond to questions such as that, or respond to anything that might be raised. So I'll certainly bring that up when public comment is completed.
Okay, and then I'll see how, I'll look things over and maybe have some more questions at a future time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming out. Any questions of, no? All right.
Did you have, anybody have questions for me? I apologize.
No. We're good. Thank
Okay.
you. Thanks
Thank
for coming
you.
out again.
Take care.
Next up.
Oh, yes, I'm always losing that.
He would have figured it out when he sat down, putting him home for the night,
Harry Kastner, 456 Atwater Street. Can I approach the drawing for a quick second?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to point out where I live so I can put a little perspective on this.
Here, you know what? I'll give you a pointer. You just got to give it back to me after you're done. That way you don't have to walk up there. Right? So you just point this button right there. We give you a white red dot, okay? With great power comes great responsibility, sir,
Yeah.
so just make sure.
So right there, that's my apartment.
Okay.
All right, so this is the south side, this is the east side. So our only windows here are the south side and the east side. So I don't see a drawing of what the back of this building looks like. So my question is, are there going to be balconies? Are there going to be patios? Are there going to be grills? Are there going to be boom boxes? Are there going to be lights back here shining in our windows at night or shining on our deck so we, so I haven't seen any drawings of what this looks like. Is there a solid fence here? What type of trees are these? Or how tall are they going to grow? I mean, this all affects our quality of life back here when all of a sudden this building appears.
Okay. We'll have the applicant respond to that question and
A lot of them
answer.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I guess that's it.
Okay. Thanks for sharing your thoughts and your concerns. Appreciate it. Yeah, for the record, right? Regina? Again, name and address, you know the drill.
Regina Coviello, 12 Beecher Street. Before I even start, I would like to, out of respect, at the last meeting, there was a gentleman that came up and was very disrespectful and turned, you know.
Regina, we're not gonna.
I was going.
Okay,
wanted
just
to
hear me out
thank
first. We're
someone.
not going to talk about anyone in particular.
I'm not.
I wouldn't allow anyone else to do it. I'm not going to allow you to do it, number one. And what was said in the past is said in the past. It's water under the bridge, and we all are going to move forward. So just share your thoughts on this application, please.
All I want to do is say thank you.
You don't have to say anything.
Well,
okay,
being
let's get to the
respectful.
application, please.
I was trying to be respectful. Wow. Okay, I would like to say first that whether the project is on this property or another property, that neighbors will be unhappy, and I do understand and see and have seen that in past projects here. Saying that, even though this is small, the residents and those who work here will have housing. According to state mandates, Southington does not have anywhere enough affordable housing and must do something to reach those mandates. From listening to the lawyers, which I learned a lot more today, and others involved in the project, they have met all concerns under State 830G and other concerns that the Planning and Zoning Board had. And with the 830G, I don't see that there's any concerns left for the project. So I don't see, any choice but to vote yes on this project legally. If you vote no, then you can be taken to court, and I don't know how that works, but then who's going to pay those costs? I'm assuming us taxpayers. I also did some research after the last meeting on this project and who was involved, and because I didn't know. And to my surprise, I found out that I know one of them, and it's actually Roy Ebgen and his family. Roy lives in Southington with his family. Roy graduated from Southington High School. Roy has a business located downtown. He knows that Southington needs apartments because so many cannot afford homes. The elderly and disabled on only Social Security are future generations that don't want to live with their parents but can't afford to go anywhere. I'm always hearing how we want to help and keep our small business owners here in Southington. Well, here is your chance. There are other business owners in this town. I will not give names. If this were up here with this project, it would have already passed. You can change a town with the population of a city and not expect it to change and need more apartments. And one last thing was funny because you actually mentioned it at the beginning of the meeting. I was at the town council meeting last night, and you guys are going to be receiving plans of an industrial park, and they were talking about that. And it's going to bring in hundreds of jobs. So we're going to have hundreds of people at a new industrial park. They're going to need a place to live too. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Regina. Yep, come on up, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Grażyna Salus. I am neighbor of 1104, and I would like to comment on a few things.
Could we get your address, please?
1082 South Main Street.
Okay, thank you.
So, we're talking about affordable housing and good intention of building for Southington. I don't know if people know the rules which apply to affordable housing. I call Southington Housing Authority and get them. So there is the list for people who apply for affordable housing. And then who first call, then when it's opening, get it. I ask this, is there any priority for Southington residents? No, there is no priority for Southington residents. So if you calling and putting yourself for Southington affordable housing from Alaska, from Nevada, and you are first, you're gonna get it. There's nothing to do with your good heart for Southington. This is spot on really investment. I observed for over 10 years when the owners of 1104 die, changing of owners of this who were buying and then selling, and they couldn't sell. And after so many years or couldn't sell, now we're having proposal for affordable housing. If you are a resident of Southington and you are veteran or you are disabled, this doesn't mean that you're gonna get affordable housing, because affordable housing is open to any citizen and resident of United States. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for sharing your thoughts, appreciate it. Anyone else like to testify on this application at this time? Just a reminder, the public hearing is going to remain open. Thank you to the applicant to allow that for our next meeting on August 19th, but you all are here tonight. If you want to speak, by all means, please come up to the podium and share your thoughts with us, but this will not be your last opportunity tonight. Anyone else? Come on up, ma'am, yep.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mary Peterman, 71 Wilbur Street, Plantsville. I would like to first thank the Commission for extending and waiting until the next opportunity to vote on this. I think the general public needs much more time to consider the revisions in the plan. I remain opposed to this, not the project itself, but to its location. We do not have a team of professionals here. We are only the general public. This is not our background. And I feel like we're being boxed into approving this because of the 1030G. I feel like I heard things tonight like, well, we could have had a hotel. We could have had other things. But the Planning and Zoning Commission would have a right to deny that if the public had all of the opportunities to put in the opposition letters that are on file and the petitions. This community is saying, we don't want this here. And I feel like we're being boxed into it's going to happen. So I think we need to take a closer look and maybe have our own experts. I think we need to consult our Wetlands Committee. I think we need to have our own consult with our police department. And so the people who are actually in Southington and know how to deal with it, and the school system, and the safety guards, and anyone from Southington to give us a real accurate description of what happens in Southington so that we have a team that we can accurately look at facts with. And thank you.
So Mary, and thank you for coming out tonight.
Yes.
I'll just say that the state statute requires public input, such as what you just gave and the other 80 people that have come before you.
Yes.
And I think that the intent of that, if I could be so bold as to assume what the intent of what the legislation was back in 1987, when I was an intern actually at the state capitol, in my college days, and looked much younger, full head of hair. I mean, I was a sight for y'all.
Wish we knew you then.
I'm not bragging, but I was. Anyways, I think the intent is to give us that opportunity to sort of gather the information from
Right.
people who are boots on the ground, if you will, who live here, who see what the community, how it operates,
Right.
with traffic and other things. On a 365,
Right.
7/24, I used to joke and say, the only day I get off is every 4 years I get leap day off because, then there's 366 days. So, but not to be slight about it, but I think the intent is to just provide that input to us,
Right.
so that we can make a more informed decision. And I'll say that thanks isn't due to us up here for extending that timeline. That's certainly at the complete purview of the applicant. So when you walk by Attorney Gomes, you can thank her because it really was her decision about extending that and allowing us that opportunity to extend it out to October 19th, or maybe the applicant who's sitting there, Roy, who allowed for that to happen. But I don't want to take credit for something that really we can request, but we have no real ability to enforce.
Okay, at the last meeting, it sounded like you were asking them if it was
I
okay,
was
so-
asking them to give us permission is what I was asking for, so.
Okay.
But that's a nuance, and I'm getting stuck on hairs that
Okay,
I used to have, I don't anymore, but,
but we need our own team.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
yeah, okay. Thank you for sharing
Thank
your
you.
thoughts. Okay, anyone else in the public who'd like to speak on this application at this time? Yep, come on up. I'll just say that any testimony that you gave previously is a matter of record, and there's no
Good.
need to repeat that.
Excellent, thank you. Pamela Kastner, 456 Atwater Street. That was my husband that spoke earlier. As he pointed to you, we are stuck in that corner unit in that L, like I think I might have mentioned before. Although I didn't really speak about where we live. Rosewood Apartments are a total of 20 units. 10 on the side we live in and 10 on the other side. Each of our units are two-bedroom townhouses. Each unit has 2 parking spaces and there are 4 visitor spots. More than enough parking for all of us. Anybody that wants to be there, friends, family, visitors, we haven't had a problem. To assume that you're going to be able to put 54 units and provide 1 parking space or 1 or 2 to a few even, I mean, I don't even understand, as Chairman, you had said, where is a visitor going to park? Where we live in proximity to Main Street, where they want to put this, it's in the same, I don't know, let me take that back. There are so many issues with this thing, I don't even know how many I can continue to, or that I should be speaking of. So we have 20 units where we live, all of those parkings. I don't understand, in less amount of space than we have where we live, how they figure they can squeeze in 54 units now rather than the 65. And give everybody, how nice of them, 1 parking spot, or maybe 2. Then we also have the issue of where are your children going to play? I'm going to assume families are going to have children. I see at the bottom they have some little area. What is the size of that area? Is there a playscape, or is it just a couple benches for people to sit right next to where all the cars are parked? Safety issue. Let's just think of this logically. There's a freaking school right across the street. Yes, there's going to be children running around, like the attorney said. Yeah. Do you want extra 54 units and cars flying through there? I live right there. I just was there. My grandson was taking summer classes at Kennedy, right across the street. I see cars flying down that narrow Route 10 all the time. It is not 4 lanes, it is 2 small lanes. And when people are dropping off their kids at school and picking them up, there's double. There's only 1 lane it becomes when everybody's parking on the side. If this project does not have enough parking spots, and I think, Chairman, you had mentioned this, where are they going to park? Well, let's see. They could park across the street in the school. At night, maybe. They could walk where they said, past the highway. They could park in our parking, because we've got plenty of parking where we live. We only have 20 units. So the insanity of trying to put so many units into a small space does not sit well with me, nor anybody I live with in the area. The safety issue about the children running around. Yeah, that's not real smart to big park. Oh, we could do a hotel. Well, we could throw a hotel up there too and let our kids go running across the street from the school to the hotel, back and forth. It's insane. Then let's see what else. What else did I notice on here? Okay, the big traffic calculations we did here. How many people are going to be driving by at certain times of the day? One day, he only took 1 day to do this at different times of 1 day? Was it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Because every day where I live is different.
Let's not turn around.
Okay.
Everything gets directed to me, right?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for
Make
letting
it
me know
easy.
that. Thank you. I'm just a little upset about this.
I get it. People get emotional.
Also, thank you.
I say you're passionate. I appreciate that. But let's just make sure that we.
Thank you. I understand.
Got it.
I'm passionate also because if this project is approved the way it sits now with 3 levels, we're only 2 levels where we live. So now, 20 feet away, I'm going to have a building a floor higher than me. Do you think we're going to be able to open a window, a blind? Like Harry said, my husband, are they going to have balconies? Are they going to be sitting and watching everything we do? I'm going to have to close, because we're on the L, I have to close all of our blinds on the whole L of this. It's insane. And the whole side there, everybody's really going to have to move, or they're going to have to keep all their blinds shut too. So, as was brought up earlier, who came first? Well, our apartment was there first. Don't we have any say as to if we want to be overtowered by this thing in front of us or next to us? Just basically not a smart thing. It's not a bad situation if they had more parking, but it's definitely not the place to be putting a project like this. There's not enough room for it. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? I'm just curious. And if you don't want to answer it, by all means, just tell me,
Please.
stuff it, dude.
No.
But and I won't take any offense to it.
I admire you.
But I'm not sure of the layout of your unit back there. Are your bedrooms in the rear of your
Yeah.
site? So those windows that would open up to this one would be your bedroom.
My 2-bedroom windows, actually, we have. So when I look out my bedroom now, I look and I see the house that's right there. I see the trash that people have left over. I see everything that is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yep. Anyone else like to testify on this application at this time? Okay, I don't see anybody. Can we you want to come up and respond to a couple things?
Yeah.
I'm sure you were taking notes. I don't know why don't you hit what you got, and if you missed something that I have, I'll just ask you to respond to that. Go for it.
Always, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, Andre Gomes, counsel for the applicant. I'm just going to try and take it in order of the comments made by members of the public. First, regarding wetlands, again, respectfully, beyond this commission's jurisdiction, is not this commission's purview to decide whether or not a wetlands application was required. We have the wetlands agent, Mr. LaValle, who determined it was not required. I'm not speaking for him, but that ends the discussion here. And I with all due respect to, I didn't catch his last name. I believe first name was Weiland at 1175 South Main. That ends the discussion for the commission.
Can I and let's go through these one at a time.
Sure.
His question was, do you have a letter? I assume based on your response that you do not have a letter.
I have not seen a letter, but I will be following up with Mr. LaValle after tonight's meeting on that. Regarding Mr. Kastner's commentary, I tried to collect all of the questions. There were a lot of one-word questions, so I'm trying to go through them. Balconies, no. There are rear elevations within our architectural plan set in our July 9th submission. No balconies, no patios at the rear. There is a 6-foot-high solid privacy fence along that back area. There is also an arborvitae privacy hedge in that same area. We have red cedar, white cedar, and cypress, which grow up to 10 to 15 feet and could grow up to a 3-foot caliper. I believe there was a question about...
Before you move on to the next one,
Yep.
I'm going to take exception with your use of the word commentary. It wasn't commentary that was provided. They were questions that were asked, and with respect to the person who raised them, I think we should treat them. But you stated that with respect to the commentary that was provided, I take exception to that. Please refrain from couching it in such language moving forward.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman,
you.
with all due respect, there was no disrespect intended on that use. I
Okay,
used
good.
the word commentary.
Let's
and
not have any disrespect then, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm going to move on from that. Regarding lights, there are no lights at the rear. Our photometric plan at the rear shows that there is no lighting at the back. I believe those were the high points. And I will just say generally, Mr. Kastner's testimony, if you will, or comments on the application. I will say this to through you, Mr. Chairman, to the Kastners and to any member of the public. My cell phone is on the front page of all of our submissions. Mr. Evgen's cell phone is on the front page.
I'm not going to entertain this. You did this before. Please refrain. No conversation can, and you know this, you should know this, as someone who specializes in affordable housing and planning and zoning issues, no conversation with you, the applicant, any member of your team, or any member of the commission that sit up here and the people who aren't here today can occur when an application is in front of us and is in active public hearing, no conversation. Therefore, no conversation should occur. I appreciate the spirit of my cell phone, give me a call, have a conversation. Please don't. My cell phone and my address is on the website. Anybody can come to me at any time, but I'll say it at the end of this public hearing, just like I've said it at the end of every public hearing. We are not allowed to have a conversation legally outside of this public hearing, off the record, with anybody. So nobody should call you, nobody should call any member of your team, and nobody should call a member of this commission, nor should they approach somebody at a grocery store or outside of the door here. We are not allowed legally to have those conversations, and if we were to have those conversations, as you should well know, we could be disqualified from judging on this specific application or any application where we engage in inappropriate conversation, of which would be off the record. That's not going to happen. Please don't offer it again. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I had been allowed to finish, I was not suggesting that the commission call me. I was offering up a line of communication to members of the public.
No member of the public should have a conversation with you. No, it shouldn't happen.
Mr. Chairman, as the attorney in the room, I can tell you that is absolutely not a violation of the Freedom of Information Act.
The temerity of you to suggest that because you're an attorney, that somehow you have an idea of how this commission should operate. I've been here for 10 years. Please don't suggest that I don't know what I'm doing. Let's move on, but I'm firm in what I said. I stand by what I said. I've been doing this for 10 years. I know what the parameters of our conversations should and shouldn't be. I've understood and I've gone through training and frontline experience of how this should operate. Let's move on. Nobody should have a conversation with you outside of this public hearing. Members of the public, please do not do that. Members of the public, please don't talk to any member of the team about this application. Members of the public, please don't talk to us about the application outside of the public hearing. It all has to be on record. Nobody should be having a conversation with you. I appreciate the spirit in which you're just offering up the opportunity for people to have one-offs. It's not going to happen. I don't want it to happen. I think that it jeopardizes your application. And if I get word or get a sense that that has occurred, then I will do everything that is at my disposal to make sure that that's noted as part of the record. So I'm trying to help you. Let's not have it happen, please.
And Mr. Chairman, again, please understand, I'm counsel for the applicant. I'm trying to just make my record. The Freedom of Information Act is what governs communications in terms of...
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I am trying to make my record.
Hold on. I'm the chairman here. And the freedom of information, I don't need a lesson in what ability anybody has with communication. I've been doing it for 10 years. I know the rules. We all know the rules. We all have learned what the rules are, and we've been doing it. So we don't need a lesson about what FOI requires or doesn't allow or whatever. I'm telling you, I'm firm about it. I don't know why we continue to need to be argumentative about it. Let's move on, please.
I will move on, Mr. Chairman, but I am not suggesting that there's a violation of FOIA. I just want to make that clear because that puts into question my credibility, and if we need to get an opinion from the town attorney on that, then certainly we will be doing so.
I'm not questioning your credibility. I think it's quite the opposite. I think what you're doing is questioning my ability to run the commission.
That is not what I'm... Mr.
good,
Chairman, that's
good,
not what I'm saying. I'm
good.
explaining what the
Then
law is.
then I
And there is
misunderstood.
no law that prevents communication from an applicant or its team with the members of the public.
Right.
There's no law. I'll move on, Mr.
I'm the chairman of the
Chairman.
Planning and Zoning Commission in the town of Southington. I get to set the rules based on that position, and the rule is that nobody should be having a conversation, and please don't let me find out that there was a conversation that was had.
All right, so the neighbor to the north of our property, I apologize, I didn't catch her name, at 1082 South Main Street. There was a question about priority for Southington residents on the rental of the affordable units. That would be in violation of the Fair Housing Act. It would be discriminatory. We cannot prioritize Southington residents. That being said, I will point the commission to our affordability plan that was submitted with our original application, and there is a section in that plan about advertising of the affordable units for rent, and there is a requirement in there that the applicant advertise in a paper in general circulation within the town of Southington. So Southington residents will hear about the availability of these rental units. I will also highlight that, as apparently the Housing Authority confirmed, there is a wait list list. And there is a wait list because there is such a need for the affordable housing. And there will likely be a wait list for the affordable units in this property as well. There was a question or a reference to a hotel proposed on the property, and that the commission would have the right to deny the hotel. Respectfully, the commission's own regulations provide that a hotel is a permitted as-of-right site plan use or use subject to site plan approval. As the commission well knows, the commission doesn't have the discretion to deny a site plan if the applicant complies with the regulations. That is the nature of a site plan approval, and that's why we brought hotel, retail, office to the commission's attention during the hearing, so that it could understand that these traffic counts, buildings of the size, the setback, the height, all allowed currently under the B zone bulk regulations. Whether or not this application was going forward, someone could come in with another one of those uses with this these bulk standards and could receive approval without any discretion upon the commission. There were questions about the and that goes on to Mrs. Kastner's questions regarding the 3 levels and being only 20 feet away, and things like that. Again, these are standards that are allowed under the current B regulations, and I'd respectfully remind the commission of the standard under 830G, which is public health and safety, views from one's bedroom, the height of the building. There is no basis to conclude that that creates a public health or safety issue. And then there was also, again, I won't belabor the comments on parking. We've gone through that, but there was also, again, a recitation of the appropriateness of the traffic counts taken by Mr. Hesketh. Again, we'll remind the commission there were 3 days of DOT data that were used, and then Mr. Hesketh was out there for a day, and I'm going to look to him to confirm, a day for the initial traffic counts, then the school observations was a separate instance, then the gap study was a separate instance, and that is the industry-wide standard for these types of traffic studies, as he said, both large and small. And Mr. Chairman, that's all I have right now. Anything else that needs to be addressed will be addressed in writing before the next meeting, unless the commission has any other questions.
Okay, well, I appreciate you hitting those points. You checked off everything on my list, so I don't have to go back and belabor it, but we'll continue the public hearing on this, and for now, we'll take a break from it. I'll just remind, again, members of the public, members of the commission, any conversations with regards to this application need to be put on the record. That's what the law requires, and I would encourage all members of the public, despite any urge to have a conversation off the record with any member sitting up here or with the applicant, please refrain from doing that. It creates a world of issues that I don't think anyone wants to do, and quite frankly, it's not fair to everybody else in the community to have those conversations off the record. So let's refrain from doing that. If you're not able to attend the public hearing that's scheduled for August 19th, you can certainly provide information and testimony by letter to our planning department. Please do that. We've had a number of people who have done that already, and I would encourage you to do that if you're not available on the 19th. Otherwise, we'll see everybody back here with regards to this application on the 19th of August. I wish you the best. I'm sure we'll see you afterwards because we have business things, but I hope your travels are safe and enjoyable.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the commission.
So
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Moving on to our business meeting portion, item 10A, which is a mandatory 824 referral of planning and zoning for the following bond ordinances for Southington. Number 1, an ordinance appropriating $6,617,400 for costs related, I had to make sure I was saying that correctly, for costs related to repairs and replacement of roofs at Hatton Elementary School, William Strong Elementary School, and Reuben E. Thalberg Elementary School, authorizing the issuance of $6,617,400 bonds and notes to finance for said appropriation. And number 2, an ordinance appropriating $2 million for acquisition of land for open space purposes, authorizing the use of bonds and notes in the same amount to finance for said appropriation. These are referendums, I believe, Dave, that are going to go to the voters of our town in the November elections. It's just required by statute 824 that we approve those. The town council acted on these last night. The roofing one is pretty obvious. Peter Romano is here if we have any questions about those, or the Board of Education Operational Manager. Did I state that correctly, Peter? And with regards to the open space one, my understanding is just to refinance the line item, if you will, so that when open space becomes available, we have that money available to potentially purchase it. So with that, I'll look for a motion to approve those two bond ordinances. Commissioner Woloski.
I'll make a motion to approve, I'm looking for, no, do I have?
No, you could just say the bond.
Mandatory 824 referral.
Yep.
All right.
Good enough.
Bond ordinances.
All right. Do we have a second to that?
I'll second.
Commissioner Gaida. Wow. That was an act, that was a
You can arm wrestle next time.
assault one. You got to wake up, Caleb. Okay, do we have any discussion on that? We have a motion and a second. No discussion? Do you need to call roll on this, Dave? Okay, go for it.
Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Gaida?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplinski?
Yes.
Commissioner Woloski?
Yes.
And Chair Henderson.
Harris is a yes, motion carries 7-0. Sorry, Peter. You earned your money tonight. Item 10B, Peter DiClemente, petition to change his own district boundary for property located at 1608 Waterbury, is it Waterbury Barrington Turnpike? I always thought it was the opposite, but
It's back.
we know where it is. From a B and an I-1 zone to a floating special design mixed-use zone under Section 4I1 of the Southington zoning regulations. This is zone change 584, and this is the one that we had the public hearing on earlier today. Do we have a motion? Commissioner Woloski.
I'll make a motion to approve ZC number 584.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Keard with a second. Can I ask on this one, Dave, is this where we want to stipulate water approval? This is not the part of it.
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Gaida?
Yes.
Commissioner Salmeri?
Yes.
Commissioner Carey?
Yes.
Commissioner Chaplinski?
Yes.
Commissioner Woloski?
Yes.
And Chair Henderson.
Harris is a yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 10C, Bailey Investment Group LLC. This is also located at 1608 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike. Request to consider a special permit application under Section 4I1 of the Southington zoning regulation to allow residential use above a proposed retail restaurant building, replacing multiple buildings built prior to 1990. This is SPU 716. Do we have a motion, Commissioner Woloski?
I'll make a motion to approve SPU 716 with the stipulation that we get water, that they get water board approval.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Chaplinski? It's a point of order, Dave. Is this where we want the two-thirds vote?
Well, Mr. Chairman, you can do it either under the SPU or the SPR, but I would also add, since they mentioned that we would like them to max out the site distances, to try and get those easements, for the appropriate speeds, so they can look, up and down the road. They did mention that they would offer that, so.
Okay, so state again, you want to add something to this?
That would be, if you agree, it would be a stipulation either under the site plan or the SPU. You could do it under both. I would probably do it under the SPU.
Well, we got the SPU is in front of us right now.
Right.
So, Steve, you made the motion. Are you agreeable to those stipulations?
Yes.
Okay. And Todd, are you agreeable? Okay, so the maker of the motion and the seconder of the motion are both agreeable to adding that as a stipulation on this motion? Does that satisfy what you're looking for?
Yeah, and you can add the two-thirds vote during the site plan.
Which is the
For
next one.
Yeah, for the.
Next one we're doing, right?
For the fencing.
Okay. Okay, so we have a modified or revised motion and second in front of us. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Gaida?
Yes.
Commissioner Salmeri?
Yes.
Commissioner Caird?
Yes.
Commissioner Chaplinski?
Yes.
Commissioner Woloski?
Yes.
And Chair Henderson.
And this is a yes, 7-0, motion carries. Item 10D, Bailey Investment Group LLC, again, 1608 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike, proposed retail building with residential units and above first floor per SDMU regulations. Redevelopment includes an associated garage. This is SPR 1902. Do we have a motion, Commissioner Wulowski?
I'll make a motion that we approve SPR number 1902 with the stipulation that we approve by 2/3 the buffer reduction in place of a fence.
Okay, so,
Worded properly?
So that would be a separate vote.
yeah.
That
yeah.
you could do.
It's going to be a
now.
vote
Yep.
before the vote on the overall
Right, yep.
application. Does everyone understand? Do we have a second? Let me ask
Second.
that. Commissioner Salmieri with a second? Okay, so again, this is a vote on allowing them, I'll use the word relief, from the requirement on the buffer. This requires a 2/3 majority of this commission to provide that relief. And I'll open it up to discussion or any discussion commissioners might have on that issue or matter.
To confirm, Bob, this is where that spot kind of tails out into that like thinner section right there?
It's that one section, I believe, on the southern portion of the site, that where the site would abut a residential rezoned area.
Residential use.
Residential use on an industrial parcel.
Right.
So, okay, any further discussion? Okay, 2/3 would mean that we need at least 5 votes in order for this to be allowed, relief to be allowed. Seeing no more discussion, can we call the roll, please?
Sure. Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Gaida?
Yes.
Commissioner Salmieri?
Yes.
Commissioner Caird?
Yes.
Commissioner Chaplinsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Wulowski?
Yes.
And Chair Hammersley.
Hammers is a yes, motion carries, and the relief is granted. Now we're going back to the overall application under SPR 1902. Can we get a motion on that, Commissioner Wulowski?
I'll make a motion to approve SPR 1902.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Who do we get? Is that Commissioner Kier? Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
This is going to look really nice.
Yeah.
A lot better than what's there.
I agree with that, Commissioner Kier. I'll just say with regards to this one, I mean, I think this was the one that we had in mind and envisioned when we passed the regulation change about 6 or 7 months ago. We have opined on this particular site, by my count, 4 times over the last maybe 5 or 6 years. None of it's come to fruition. I look forward to it coming to fruition finally and having that site appear to hit the potential I think it has. And I thank the applicant for bringing this forward. And with that, can we please call the roll?
Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Gaida?
Yes.
Commissioner Salmieri?
Yes.
Commissioner Caird?
Yes.
Commissioner Chaplinsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Wulowski?
Yes.
And Chair Hammersley.
Hammers is a yes, motion carries 7-0. Congratulations, and let me see it happen. Moving on to our next item, item 10E, HQ Realty LLC, site plan application proposing to permit multiple buildings and additional parking on one parcel per section 9C5 of the zoning regulations, property located at 136 Curtis Street, Zone I2, SPR 1900. Commissioner Judas, as you're setting up there, I'll just remind the commission that this was an application on a broader sense that we addressed, I believe, last month, maybe 2 meetings ago. And these are actually the buildings that we're talking about now. So with that, Steve, I hope I said a accurate preface for you.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Commissioner
Go
members,
for it.
for the record, Stephen Judas with Cole Civil and Survey, 876 South Main Street. I had come before the commission for a special permit request for this property on Curtis Street. It is technically 136 Curtis Street. It's an I2 zone, and we had come before the commission requesting permission to allow multiple buildings on one parcel. We wanted to develop this site as an industrial, for lack of better terms, condominium, where the association would own the entirety of the property along with the infrastructure, and then the owners would own their buildings and their parking lots. And at that time, we submitted a site plan proposing 3 new buildings as the part of the first phase. That site plan needed a little bit of fine tuning after review by staff. We had to just fine tune the stormwater management system and provide infrastructure. The fire department was looking for hydrants. The water department wanted some profiles and so on. So we fine-tuned, we did the fine-tuning to the site. We addressed staff comments, and we did get a rejection from the fire department. He requested the fire hydrants. We added the fire hydrants. We sent it back out, but we haven't gotten a technical blessing from him yet. I don't know if that's something that the commission would consider as a stipulation, that we get a approval from him, but I did have a phone call with him. He told me what he was looking for, and we did incorporate that into the plan. So I'm here now to, as I mentioned, as we go through this site, we will come back before this commission. Every time we want to build a building, we'll come back and ask for a site plan approval per building. We may come in with one, may come in with two, but we're going to follow the master plan that we had proposed, and that's what we're doing here.
All right. Are you all set?
Yes.
Open it up.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant for members of the commission? Steve?
So Steve, right now, this is just conceptual, no buildings are set to be constructed, but this is your
Nope.
overall vision of the property?
No, I had presented the conceptual at the public hearing for that use. This is actual site plan proposing to construct these three buildings here. This is the existing building. We're proposing a parking lot to the rear of that. Proposed building, proposed building, proposed building.
Okay. My next question would be to staff in terms of, with the fire rejection, what is your thoughts on how to handle that?
Mr. Chairman, I think we can just stipulate to fire satisfaction like we do for health and water, if we haven't heard from them.
Well, we don't typically see rejected.
Yeah.
I asked him not to. I said, could you do something other than reject?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, it's easier for me to keep track. And I said, I know, but it sounds so bad that you rejected it, but.
Yeah, I was privy to the part of that conversation. So.
Very good.
I knew that rejection would come back to get me, but.
It at least deserved the comment.
It absolutely does, believe me.
I'm good.
Okay. Any other? Caleb?
Steve, could you just kind of take us through the site plan, like as it's laid out?
As I mentioned, we have the existing building.
Yeah.
There's some existing parking in the front. We're proposing, we have the driveway here. It's in this location to provide adequate sight distance in either direction. As you come in, this will be the common driveway that comes through the site, and all the buildings would be accessed off this common driveway. It's really, it's really a roadway. It's 24 feet wide, like a typical road. It has all your typical services, sewer, water, and stormwater management, and gas in it. We have a proposed parking area here for this building. We have landscape required for our buffer against residential use. We have a proposed sign location here with a berm with landscaping. One of the things was to try to shield this development from neighbors across the street. I know they had a lot of concerns about this, so we proposed a 6-foot berm in this location with landscaping well off the roadway that we think would provide some buffering from abutting properties. We're also proposing to increase, that we have a 50-foot. We're required to do a 30-foot, but we have a 50-foot buffer along this area that we are going to utilize some of the existing vegetation, and we're proposing to supplement that with additional landscaping throughout that area. We have a parking area here with loading on the side with parking here. We have outside storage. Your regulations permit outside storage in a I2 zone, 50% of what the building is, so that's what we're proposing there. And that is kind of, okay, hopefully that will pop back up. That's kind of just, we did the same thing throughout. Each site has its own parking area, its own landscaped islands, its own dumpster location. And then the stormwater management system kind of runs through grass swales and pipes through sediment basins into a larger stormwater management system here that discharges south, I guess that would be south, towards a wetland area. This is very similar to what was proposed as part of the original subdivision.
So how big are each of those buildings?
These are 5,000 square feet.
And then are there streetlights on that common driveway?
We don't have proposed streetlights on the common driveway, no. We would have building lights.
And then, so to that point then, are the building lights facing in towards the property, or are they around the buildings? My point
Around the
being-
buildings.
So are they
But-
going towards,
Not towards the residence, no.
yeah, that's wrong.
Only at the
So
front.
there's nothing to the,
Nothing on the backside,
yeah, towards the
yeah,
Curtis Street.
or on the backside of this building either.
I think that when we discussed this project, I had made a comment about, and I believe that this extends past that second building to the top of the frame, to extend the intentional plantings, not just the buffer space, farther up towards, again, to the right, we'll say. So, yes.
There's an easement.
So what we did is, again, we're required to do a 30-foot buffer. This still has a 50-foot buffer in this area. This building itself is actually built into grade. So the back of the building, the grade is at the rooftop.
Right.
And then the front of the building it's almost like a walkout on the front side of the building. So this building will be shielded substantially from abutting properties. But I think as part of the special permit, we did testify that we would supplement anything that needed supplemental with additional landscaping.
Yeah.
That was something that we
We
would,
did discuss extending somewhere, maybe it wasn't in that location, it might have been,
we were extending, see these areas where these round ones, these are areas where we felt that the existing vegetation doesn't fill in that buffer, so we added that. But we also said, I think as you go up, there's other areas, anywhere along that 50 feet, we asked was if Dave seems we need additional landscaping, we will fill that in with the proper landscaping to buffer the neighbors.
What type of tree, tree plant?
Arborvitaes is typically what we used to do white pines, but no, they're just uncontrollable. So we typically spec some type of arborvitae.
Okay. All right, that's helpful. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
No,
Chairman.
anyone else? Kristen?
Is this going to be like a commercial condo complex?
Yes.
So they'll have like HOA, not HOA, but commercial fees. And the road is going to be privately maintained?
Yes.
With that building that you just highlighted that goes into the berm, I don't know if this is a good question or not, but there's no concern of like water damage when there's like rain and runoff and
No,
into the
we
building?
proposed the grading so the water will go around the building.
Okay.
Sand in there.
I don't have any other questions.
All set? Anyone else?
I have one
Todd,
quick
go ahead.
question. I don't know if you know the answer to this yet, Steve, but like, are there the plans for like a light machining type industries here, or is it more like warehousing? And I know you're gonna go, kind of building by building, but
It'll be building by building, but yes, it'll be either light machining or light warehousing. There's nothing, there's no heavy industry proposed that we have at the moment, so.
Thank you.
You all set then?
All good.
Okay. Anyone else? Steve, and to Kayla's point, the approval of the SPU, we stipulated that the berm and the lighting issues had to be addressed prior to any construction. We all understand that applies in a general sense to the entirety of the site at 136 Curtis Street, correct?
I guess the thing I'm curious about is we talk about the berm. We didn't really propose any berms on the SPU. I thought it was really the landscaping around the buffers is what we talked about.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, I'm sorry, my misuse of the word.
I just want to make
and
sure I'm
talking
agreeing
about
to the right.
buffer, yeah.
I want to make sure I'm agreeing to the right
Yep.
thing. We did talk about lighting and there was no, I'm told there's no lighting on the site other than the lights at the front of this building. But all of our lighting that we're proposing on our plan is all full cutoff lighting. It's all directed downward towards the parking areas and nothing on the back sides of the buildings.
Okay, so there won't be any overflow of lighting that would occur? And any overflow of lighting that currently exists would be corrected prior to anything else being done, so? right?
Yes, yep.
Okay, so if you're done, we'll move on this one.
Okay.
But if you have something to add, by all means, take the opportunity, let's do it.
That's it. I'm
You're good?
done. Thank you for your time.
Okay, can we get a motion on item 10E? Commissioner Wolowski?
I'll make a motion to approve SPR 1900 with the stipulation that it meets fire department approval. And with that said, just to reiterate, I think that
Let's get a second before okay, can we get a second on Commissioner Wolowski's motion?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Czaplinski with a second. Go ahead, Commissioner Wolowski.
I just wanted to say, I think that this is probably the best project that we could have hoped for here, and Thank you for working with us to get it done.
I think it is a. it is a
Motion's
leap-
on the floor, Steve. You
Sorry,
really
I can't
talk.
say it. I'll say it when you're done.
Yeah, you can talk to him afterwards.
All right.
We'll be done soon, so, Commissioner Wolowski, thank you. Anyone else, any member of the commission, any other comments on this? All right, can we get the roll call, please?
Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Gaida?
Yes.
Commissioner Salmieri?
Yes.
Commissioner Caird?
Yes.
Commissioner Chaplinsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Wolowski?
Yes.
And Chair Hammersley.
Hammers is a yes, motion carries and is approved on SPR 1900 with a stipulation.
Thank you
Looking
very
for, thank you. Looking for a table on item 10F. Commissioner Wolowski,
Can we do them all together?
what's this?
All right. Motion to table 10F, ZC 582.
No, this is zone amendment 620.
I'm on the wrong paper, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
this one. Just clarify your motion.
All right. Clarifying the motion to approve ZA 620.
No, we want a
No,
table on
table.
this. It's 10:20, it's late. I get it. Let's try it one more
Motion to
time.
table ZA number 620.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Coles, is that you? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'm not even sure if discussion is allowed. Can we get a roll call, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on to item 10G. This is ZC 582. Commissioner Coles, do we have a motion to table that one?
Make a motion to table ZC number 582.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Guida with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10H, SPR 1897. Looking for a table on this one?
I'll make a motion to table SPR 1897.
Taking the bull by the horns. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Chaplinsky with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10I, Frank and Mary Fregola, site plan application modification for proposal to construct an age-restricted affordable housing for 30 units under state statute 830G, property located at 295 Landing Street, zoned in R80. This is SPR 1811.1. I'm not sure that there's much more to add to this one, but by all means, the applicant has the floor. If they would like to do that, go for it.
Thank you, Brian Macarello, 200 Executive Boulevard here in Southington. It's good to be back before the commission. Here with my client, Frank Fregola, sitting in the back, our professional, Seb Babino. I don't think we have anything to add other than the last-minute item from the last meeting was a letter from the fire department, which was received. Seb, you have anything to add? We're here to answer any questions.
Seth Bovino, Planner, Cranston Jones, who received the approval from fire department and a letter from the water department. Those were the two items.
Okay, so just, I'm gonna ask staff, we have all approvals that we need on this one, Dave?
From,
Dave and Dave?
from us, yes. But like you said, you can stipulate water comments. And if health has any comments, I don't know if the applicant heard from them, but.
Okay, and Dave Norris, you wanna,
Yes.
you're good?
Yes.
Sev, you wanna add anything?
Regarding what?
I thought Dave said something about water, no?
Yeah, I guess comments went out, Mr. Chairman, and I didn't see them responded to, so if you just want to stipulate their approval, they had a checklist of items that they wanted to see.
But I did get a letter at the last minute today, maybe 2 o'clock, indicated that the water company can serve the property with adequate pressure and all that.
Okay.
I have a copy of the letter if you want.
Sure.
In a second. He said maybe the stipulation is that we're looking for water department approval, and it's as simple as you just furnishing that letter to Dave, and then I think everyone will be satisfied.
Yes, they did say they were satisfied with our work, but there were still a few items they've been asking, so if you want to stipulate, that's fine.
Okay. Anything else before I look for a motion on this?
That's it.
You guys are
No.
good? Okay.
Thank you.
Frank, anything you want to add? Your spokespeople are out there? I'm asking Frank back there, but he's a wise enough man to know.
He knows.
Yeah. Okay, so we're looking for a motion on item 10I. Commissioner Wolowski.
Well, I don't like how we got here, but we're here. So Reluctantly, I'm going to make a motion to approve SPR number 1811.1.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
Is that Commissioner Keard?
yes.
Okay, I'm getting good at this.
Wait, was there a stip in there?
All right, we have a motion and I'm sorry.
Right, I'm sorry, with the stipulation.
Commissioner Wolowski, you want to amend your motion?
Amend my motion with Water Department comments need to be submitted after approved.
Okay, Commissioner Keard, are you okay with that
I'm
stipulation?
okay with that. I
Okay.
yes.
I thought I was getting good at this, but I guess not. Okay, any discussion?
This discussion, just I guess a point of order. I think I should not take this vote because I wasn't here last week and I wasn't here for the presentation, even though I looked through the minutes. I just don't feel it's appropriate for me to.
Okay, so you want to abstain?
I think
Okay.
it's appropriate.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Any other discussion from commission? Seeing none, could we call the roll, please?
Sure, Commissioner Gaida,
Yes.
Commissioner Salmieri,
Yes.
Commissioner Caird,
Yes.
Commissioner Chaplinsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Wolowski.
Yes.
And Chair Hammersley.
We didn't call Commissioner Coles,
You
Abstain.
abstained.
just to put on, he's abstaining.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, and Hammersley's a yes, motion carries 6-0, congratulations. Item number 11, administrative items. Dave LaValle, you want to talk about a pickleball court at the Calendar House?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this came before us as a zoning permit, which is all it would typically need, but I just wanted it before you. It's a 60 by 30 pickleball court behind the Calendar House at 388 Pleasant Street. There is no lighting proposed per the proponent. I just didn't know if you guys wanted any further review, just considering it's a recreational use adjacent to residential. You know, there are quite a few in town, but it is a town project, so we're just held to the same standard as everyone else.
And this adheres to all zoning regulations that would apply
Setbacks
in
and
this
all, yeah.
situation. I knew the answer to that. I just wanted to put it on the record because the conversations you and I had. So Dave brought this to me a week or so ago.
Yeah.
It was sent out as part of our packet, sort of we'll call it a back of the napkin drawing of where they're proposing to put that pickleball court. And so I suggested to Dave that we review it just to see if we're okay with him administratively approving this enhancement of our Calendar House and opportunities for members of a senior age, such as myself and others. But are we okay with that, or do we want something more formal? So I open it up to members of the commission to discuss.
It's one single court,
Yes.
60 by 30?
60 by 30, whatever that entails.
Look at you.
Is it going to be age restricted just to those people that can use the senior center, or is it open to the community?
We haven't discussed that. I'm not sure how their operation works there.
There are other pickleball courts in town, but
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
Probably have to be a member, I would think.
Look, if you want to go out there, just let me know. I'll sign you up. I'm over 50. I can do
I
it.
think I might almost be there.
So I'm happy to do it for you.
It's 50, huh?
Sorry?
50?
Yeah.
Is it?
Might be 55. I don't know, but I'm on the border of 59, so I'm of age,
Get
if
some
you will.
discounts now.
It's one of the only places where they might check my ID, so, you know, I bask in that. But anyways, any other comments or questions? How do you all feel about him just administratively approving it and just to move it forward?
For one standard court, yeah, fine.
Yeah. We all good with that? No objection to that? Dave, you okay with that? You need anything else on that?
Absolutely. No,
All right.
thank you.
So let's move on to item 12, receipt of new applications and items scheduled for public hearing. I think we have 2 of them, Dave. You want to talk about them?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. One is for an earth excavation application. 45 Copper Ridge is a pretty severe slope behind this house that's failing, so they're starting to lose their back patio. So they want to secure the slope, but it is, you know, over the 400 cubic yards of material that they're bringing in. And then the second one that we've added for receipt is 64 Knolls. It's a special permit for a garage larger than 1,092 square feet.
Okay. So we'll see those on future agendas. Before we break, I just want to thank the commission for helping to clear up our agenda so that we continue to make it as neat, if you will, as possible. And we'll see you all back here after a motion to adjourn on August 19th. Do we have a motion to adjourn, Commissioner Wolowski?
Motion to adjourn?
You have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Guida with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Have a nice night, folks.
Thank you.